was that? So like I was telling you, that's all that's coming to Halloween Horror Nights this year.
Yeah, that's everything.
That's gonna be. And
It sounds good. It sounds like a good. Oh wait,
are we live?
we're we're on.
Oh,
Okay,
all right, everyone.
cut that off right now.
What I just said. Hopefully you guys didn't hear that. We didn't want to spoil anything that's coming to Halloween Horror Nights this year. Uh, Nothing that you've heard out there has been confirmed.
Nope, nothing at all. Nothing has been confirmed for better for worse.
So we had a little bit of an announcement. A little bit.
Just a little
Just
bit.
a wee little. This got announced.
Scared
Which,
scared the hell out of me.
I didn't even
out of my
realize
ears.
that it's been this long that this thing has been in. Like, I haven't realized this. Like, what is this? 3 years? 2 years?
Um,
I feel
like
like it's been a couple years at this point.
we got the first announcement at the beginning of 2023. So this is what, 2 years now since we got it officially announced.
Yeah. Wow.
So
So, and they keep updating us very, very gradually, which is, it's crazy about this is typically we would get all this stuff and then you get the rollout of the house announcements, one by one or however they want to do it with this iteration of Horror Nights. But it's weird that they dropped the houses first. So we've known the houses for quite a while. Nothing's been surprised on that part.
mm-hmm.
But they dropped some more concept art, a little bit more of the story, which is interesting because I didn't think this whole thing was going to have a story. I thought it was going to be just as simple as you go in, hey, there's 4 mazes, there's a tribute store, some bars, and it's really cool that they're kind of like diving deeper into a little bit more and giving it an experience.
Yeah, and I think like everything at Horror Nights has to have a story. Sorry, if y'all, anybody who's in here, if you see me looking down, it's not that I'm ignoring you guys. I'm trying to get the word out there that this stream is happening. So, okay.
Well, thank you, Dylan. Didn't
Yeah.
know that. Let me adjust that.
Dylan, if you could hear me, does mine sound good? I have to make sure mine sounds good, or else I'm just talking into the ether, talking at the brick wall.
The ether. Let me see. Sorry, I'm using a brand new thing here, testing out some stuff. Hello, hello, hello. I think that should be good. Let us know in the chat if that audio is somewhat all right. There we go.
Cool. Thanks, Dylan.
Thank you, Dylan. Dylan Thomas, everybody. If you haven't obviously checked out his channel, subscribe. Definitely check him out. He just got done, I think, doing mostly his cruise, which, whew, I mean, hats off to you for that one. I would be probably terrified to be on a cruise, especially a Disney cruise for that long. So hats off to Dylan.
Yeah. The thing is with cruising, especially like, and I feel like in filming, so much of it is like there's just so much to cover. It's like the fatigue that I feel after Horror Nights like opening weekend of like covering, like I have to get everything filmed, and that's sometimes for what, 3 days to sometimes people take those cruises for up to a week, and I can't imagine filming pretty much the whole time. I'm like, hats off to Dylan and the other folks doing cruise content, because it's a lot. It's a lot to film.
I believe it. It's a lot of food, a lot of eating,
lots of food, and that's I think something that's interesting about, like, obviously I'm sure we'll talk about Epic at some point in here because that's a big thing. But like all the food there, everything here, Horror Nights has tons of food. It's like it's hard to keep up with just one of those things, let alone three of them. But it's what we do. It's
Off the
fun
top
it.
of my head, there's a wild question to throw at you. Okay, Vegas, right? Vegas, baby, Vegas. Everything's got to
baby.
be big in Vegas, right?
Everybody's gotta be
You got to
big,
go
yep.
big. How would you elevate pizza fries to the next level for Vegas? Because you can't fly all the way there and just have the same pizza fries.
You can make them. I mean, realistically, you can always do what they do with pizzas and just make more toppings. Like, just add more, like, supreme pizza fries with all kinds of stuff on top.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised in the years we've had Horror Nights and all the different things we have had, in terms of, like, popcorn buckets and things. We don't have, like, a pizza fry bucket or like some kind of receptacle to eat pizza fries out of, because like Disney has, like, I know for their, like, they'll have like the kitchen sink ice cream, and the ice cream will have
okay, yeah,
like a thing, and it's like yeah, that would be something that I'm surprised we haven't gotten something like that.
Guy Fieri.
gourmet pizza fries.
Ooh, that would be crazy. All you can eat pizza fries.
Oh, you can eat pizza fries. That
Oh, I eat one and I'm like, I'm good for the season. I don't
pretty much
know if I want an all you can eat.
Pizza fries for me are like, okay, I like Twisted Taters more. If I had to pick one, I just like
controversial.
I like, okay, Twisted Taters when they're good, I like them more, but they're a lot less predictable. You can get really bad. I've had really bad ones of Twisted Taters.
Yeah, I've had bad pizza fries too.
I've had pizza fries for me are like, even if they're bad, it's still fries and sauce and cheese. Yeah. But like with pizza fries for me, they're very filling for the price compared to other like Horror Nights foods that sometimes you're like, oh wow, I paid $10 to $15 for this item. Universal food in general, like with the like events, that pizza fries I feel like are always a good, like, I'll feel full after them, and it'll carry me off into the rest of the night. I know Dylan. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's the first of many controversial takes that are probably going to happen in this stream right here. I have one that I when I talk to other people about it, they threw their hands up. They're like, "Oh my god!" Like, unsubscribe. So, you know what? I don't care anymore.
All right,
I'm not holding back.
So, we got our first look at the new warehouse design, which is interesting enough because I've been keeping up with some of the construction, and I did find there's a person out there, Black Magic Ventures, who's been doing some drone footage of this area. And it's interesting that the left and right buildings are now encompassed into this artwork, whereas before, like you in your video, Dreamport had, you said that the industrial entrance that they had before was much different than what we see today.
Yeah, it's not, now looking at it again. So when you look at the door, they have that little like railing above. On the original piece of concept art, we had a universal sign. Yeah. It almost looked to me, and there's going to be a lot of, I feel like, comparisons, and I even talked about this a little bit in my video, to like Hollowed Past HHN 20, like it being a warehouse with this sort of cursed items. And that's kind of like the look that I'm getting from this. I'll be the first to admit, I don't love how this facade looks compared to the other one. I don't know if it was maybe just how the other concept art piece was designed, and it just looked a little more unique, and it looked a little more detailed. But like this one here, it looks more like what we're seeing now. You're right. It looks a lot more relevant to the facade we see. And I would love if, I know a few other videos have mentioned this, I would love if those windows actually like lit up and maybe change colors. Because you're not going to have a red
definitely
backdrop.
See those glowing.
Yeah, because we're not going to have red sky. I hope we don't have red skies in the background. I hope that's not the state of Las Vegas when we go to a Horror Unleashed. But, anything can happen. But, like, I'm saying I think it would be kind of cool to have. I think it would also be a cool look for the surrounding area with Area 15 and the, Las Vegas. Have some fun lighting at night. I think it would look really good.
That's true. And I think, yeah. You know what's funny? I was just staring at this artwork now, and the sound that door reminds me of the rollout that they do at sound stages for Orlando,
Yeah.
where you're walking into the big giant doors that are like, you ever been there when they've rolled those? It's very funny to watch it slowly roll with that loud, like buzzing noise. And that's what it looks like. Like we're going into, like you said, a big prop house or a big sound stage. And this looks like the biggest sound stage Universal has ever
Yeah.
built.
Yeah. It definitely has that like soundstage look. And that's why I wonder if it's gonna like I'm curious to see what the immediate entrance looks like because obviously we've seen a lot of the other areas. I'm curious to see like because with an experience like this, I'm expecting like a main sort of area, maybe like a waiting area, maybe a location where you'll see like a tribute store, and some like basic entrance area kind of stuff before you get like spin off into the different parts. I'm
Yeah.
curious. I'm curious to see if this functions like how theme parks are because like when you go to a theme park whether that be Hollywood, Orlando, Epic Universe, Islands of Adventure, Disney parks, whatever, it's very clearly like you're going, it either like you go towards a middle hub and it branches off or you go like in a circle or anything like that. When you go to like Area 15, the way it's structured is that everything is kind of like you kind of have to find it, and it's like one big experience where it's not like they may have like a map, but it's not like a direct. You go into a hub and there's like a door here, door here, door here, door here. I'm not sure if that's what we're going to be looking at of something a
Yeah.
little more like
It's
maze
going to feel
like.
very adventurous to kind of like roam around
Yeah.
and see what corners and crevices and hidden pathways and stuff.
Yeah, because based on an original sort of previewed aerial like map schematics of this, it had the houses in the corners, and then it had a one big area, which we now know there's going to be a few different areas. I believe there's
Yeah.
four. So a few different areas. So maybe that's how it is. Is like each corner is its own. Like we have one house in one corner, one house in the other, and then in the entrance there's like a facade thing.
Yeah. Is this going to be year round? Well, technically, by their standards of definition of year round, yes. But as we can see currently on the website, if you're trying to buy tickets in the future, it's not listed past like mid February on. I mean, you can only see like up to February and March of next year. March has no dates that you can select in February. I think it's only the first maybe 2 weeks, which in theory, what I'm assuming is what's going to happen is they shut down or they only keep, I guess the operation is not going to occur until August again. Maybe that gives them enough time to roam around and fix stuff or change out. I don't know if they're going to change out one house, two houses, all of them. Because, I mean, I would be kind of mad to go this year and then come back next year and two of the houses are different, but two houses are the same. I would be like, I would feel gypped in a way, I guess. And it would depend on those two houses to make me want to go or not. But for new houses, that would definitely, push me.
Yeah, and I think like because I'm thinking also, when with operating, one or two houses closed, you think about it like this, you know, I'm sure I don't know, Chris, if you had a plan about going over how much those tickets cost, but if you knock out a house, you're only down to three houses and you're charging the same price for those tickets. I assume it'll take, when you have the initial structure, I'm not sure. I guess Horror Nights, they can get houses done in a couple months, like, especially if they're only doing one at a time, but I have no clue what their metric is for getting these swapped out. It's a very, very curious aspect of it that that, as I know Florida man Charles is saying, like, has it been discussed yet? No, they haven't said a word about it, so it's all just guessing. But yeah,
I was trying to see if I can. Did I not have it?
what's that?
I was looking for the tickets.
Oh, tickets. So, yeah, you're the stream. I do want to answer Dylan's question though while you're looking at that.
Yes. Where is it at?
It's asking about yeah. So Vegas has so much to do since they're looking to make this permanent. I think this does. I think the thing is with this is that we love Horror Nights, right? We're gonna go in the initial rollout. I think most of us are gonna try to make it out there in the first year. That's just me. I know I'm gonna try to make it out there in the first year just because I want to see it. But also, Vegas has so much to do, but it's universal. Like that, it will. I think it'll root itself in the plans for a lot of people that are going to Vegas of like Area 15. That was kind of like what what happened to Area 15, where it was kind of, I want to say, like a little more underrated, and then people started covering it, people started talking about it, and then it became this big thing where they have them everywhere now. Not Area 15, but they have Meow Wolf, which is what Area 15 is known about. They have those everywhere. I know Area 15 and Vegas wasn't the first one. They were originally going to build one here, and they just kind of canceled that. It was before COVID. They even had the location set up and everything. It was over by the outlet mall. They already had plans. It was bought up. I believe that a lot was owned by Dolly at one point. And it was like, yeah, and then it got quietly canceled because it was just that they had like the robot out there kind of like indicating it was coming, and then I think last year that robot finally went down. So but like my point in saying that thing is such a big part, and like Universal alone is going to sell at least a small percentage. And we could talk about this later on, but my theory is that I don't think they need or want this to be big. I think they want it to be that sweet spot where it's enough to sell, right? Enough to make them money, but it doesn't need to be an Omega level event. That's what Horror Nights is for. You have the room to tell everybody, hey, come over here for Horror Nights. I feel like it's one of those things. It's meant to get people to Horror Nights. Say, hey, did you like this? We have a new thing every year with bigger and more impressive IPs. So I don't ever see something like FNAF, for example. I don't see them bringing it here unless it's already been at Horror Nights, because Horror Nights is the main event. Horror Unleashed is kind of the supplement where it's, for us, it's for that, they're capitalizing on that sort of like, hey, you miss Horror Nights? Go out to Vegas, you can experience it. But like, that's part of it. So I don't think they want it to be a thing where it's like it needs to bust the doors down. I think it can operate in a smaller area, and that's why I think some of the questionable choices regarding tickets and how they're managing things, I think that can be kind of an umbrella thing to explain it. But that's just my guess, though.
That's very true. Initially, when I was watching your video, I was like, yeah, it makes sense why they had it open in August. But then I was like, well, wait a second. Now you're making sense. Because if you start this off in January of 2026, you get people who are like, man, the haunt season's over. Oh, wait a minute, this is opening? Like, and I gave everyone time to sort of have the funds and have the time to like plan, instead of August being closer to haunt season, especially for us in Orlando, where it's like, you can't plan a trip here and then like try to do Horror Nights opening weekend, like 2 weeks turnaround.
Yeah.
Like that's just way too crazy of a time stamp for that.
Yeah. And it's also like, I can see the convenience of having this. This does open Midsummer weekend, which I could see the convenience of getting the haunters out there to be like, hey, go to Midsummer and then go out to Vegas if you're on the West Coast. But also at the same time, I don't even say January. I even thought in my head, like, March onward, like March or like in the summertime, I think, because by the summertime people are ready for spooky season. People are like, hell yes, I'm done with whatever else is going on. I want to get to. That's when all the people, I know on our end, people start getting hyped about construction and all this stuff that's going on. They're like, oh my god, Halloween Horns is so close. That even like it sounds kind of stupid, but like Summerween is like a thing that's like gone more viral every single year. So like I feel like a summer opening would have been a more ideal. And yes, they are opening at summer, but like not between Epic Universe and Haunt Season. Wait until there's nothing happening next year. Sorry, West Coasters. I know you're getting Fast and Furious, but I'm talking about something a little more substantial than that. But, you know, seeing the struggles to keep scare actors staffed in Orlando, do you think a year-round haunt will suffer from the same issue? Not really, because of the fact that it's different talent, and it's also like thinking about it like this. There's
Yeah.
so much entertainment in Vegas that industry has people. There's so many different shows and experiences and escape room, not escape room. Well, escape rooms
Oh,
kind of,
yeah,
but
there's
doesn't.
escape rooms.
Yeah, but that's not really as much. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much different stuff to do in Vegas that requires performers. So like, it's like almost like here with the Orlando theme park industry, where like
Yeah.
performers and like actors looking to break out, a lot of the times before they go elsewhere might start with the theme parks, or they might aspire to be performers in the theme parks and stay there.
True.
And you see that the people that perform at Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, yeah, it's like there's lots of shows. So I don't think it will be an issue as much as it would be an issue anywhere else. You know, obviously it's going to be, you're going to have situations, but also because, you know, you can sign people onto different contracts because you don't have, you know, with seasonal.
That's true. Yeah.
With seasonal performers, like you have to sign specific contracts. I know for working at HHN that it's different than someone who can say, this is technically your job to be full time doing this for,
Yeah.
you know,
Like the Airless and Jack. Those are probably like, what is it called? Performer A, I think they
Yeah.
call it, where it's like a speaking role or like you're
B.
on stage B. So those are probably going to be contracted. So they'll be there longer. Now, the other ones, they're just regular scare actors, so they'll be obviously flipped. And There we go.
I wonder more or less because, you know, will we be seeing more speaking characters in the like areas, because it almost gives me a vibe that it's going to function like a character dining. And while there wasn't, they didn't all speak in character dining. You saw in the video they had quite a few shots of the clowns in the carnival, and they were like kind of around and teasing people and stuff. So I wonder if you're going to have it a little more, if it's going to be less like, I wonder in that case, because obviously Jack, Chance, any like big characters like that, they're going to be at a premium, especially even the aerialist. You know, if they were to bring like the Fuel Girls, I know that's been kind of talked about, bringing them out there, like those people will be paid premium because they're, you know, they have that name. But like even the regular actors, just the standard characters, would it be looking more like what we see at like other haunts where they have a little more roaming ability, because they don't describe these as scare zones. I did not see the word scare zone used in any of the promotional material. They did not use that word.
media press release, nothing.
Nothing. It didn't say scare zone at all. It was just immersive areas. I think that's what it was called. Immersive themed area. I don't know. It's whatever. I'm thinking of them like scare zones because I don't think they want that idea that people know what scare zones are between Hollywood and Orlando, and they're expecting that. It's going to be something all new altogether, which is, I think, one of the more interesting parts of this whole experience.
Which it didn't hit me until I was watching your video. Not to plug it again, but when you
Plug it,
had,
please.
when you had the HHN bar footage come up, it was like a light bulb went off in my head, because what I'm always told is, in theory, Horror Nights does things because they are testing things for the future.
Sure.
Don't think when they do something, it's, well, this is weird. Why are they doing it? That's because they're testing stuff. So when they brought the whole camera system into the houses, that was what, a couple years back they first started doing that, when you first enter like almost the facade area and you look to your right or left and you see like the It's like
Oh,
a tablet with all the
yeah,
cameras.
like the CCTV, like
Yes,
security.
they were testing that because obviously not only for their own safety issues for the house, but this is also something they're going to use in a year-round haunt attraction. When they were testing Premium Screen Night and doing the pulsing,
Yeah.
that was something that's going to obviously be used here. They're going to take all that data and see how things worked, how they need to pulse, how many, all that stuff is going to be reused. Case in point, the HHN bar experience is something almost along the lines of what we're going to experience in here, where
Yeah.
you have characters that you can kind of meet and greet or just roam around and there's a bar area. So definitely think they were testing a lot of this stuff for Vegas.
I think it's like you're looking at a sandwich between HHN because really the food situation has changed so much in the past. Even I would argue the past 5 or 6 years because at a point we had character dining for so long. Then we dropped character dining. We brought that Taste of Terror event, which didn't do that well, but it was a an event focused on yes, but thoughts on Premium Scream Night. We'll probably talk about that at some point later in the stream. But then they brought the Taste of Terror event, which was its own like showing kind of how the food was a premium, although it didn't work because the food's not a premium enough. People care about the food, but not enough to I think sell out that event. But then having the Peacock bar and then also having the HHM bar kind of following the same kind of formula. I think it kind of goes back to that idea because Peacock bar and HHM bar is what I called character drinking because it's essentially the same thing. You have photo ops. Yes, you don't have the roaming characters, but you do have like designated photo ops. You get your drinks. You can roam around. You can talk to, we did have roaming with David S. Pumpkins, which, love him or hate him, that is essentially what his job was to be roaming and talking to people. So when you have that, you're kind of like we're watching the breadcrumbs being laid for this experience, which haunted houses they can nail. They've been doing haunted houses for 30 plus years, but it's this stuff that's really kind of the new ground. It's why I think they're bringing a tribute store over there because the tribute stores have been proven to work time and time again. And I will say there's no tribute store confirmed in the. They said themed merchandise, which my assumption would be if it's not a tribute store, it is a version of it. Like for me, when I saw that doll warehouse, I was like, wow, that looks like it could be a store. You have boxes everywhere. You have all the creepy merchandise that can kind of tie into the theme of it. It's not necessarily a tribute store. It's more kind of like if any of y'all have been to the Orlando airport recently, they had a HHN store, like HHN overlay of the store. Now it's an Epic Universe store, but it was an HHN store with like HHN Bear and all that stuff. And that's kind of the vibe I could see them doing, where it's not like a tribute store like what we see in the parks now. It's more almost like I think more like a Hallows Eve, where it's like one idea that is done.
And
the pricing. You go for it, Chris, because it's interesting.
so when we were in the off season of wondering this, and I kept talking with a lot of creators and people that I usually go to California with, I'm just like, I don't know, man. We gotta see the pricing on this. Like, it's Horror Nights, so it's gonna be a premium. It's 4 houses, but if you take a regular night at Horror Nights, you subtract it by the house count.
Yeah.
There's no scare zones. Like, what's the magic number here? I wasn't expecting to be paying as much as, I wouldn't say, well, how much is a Rush of Fear?
Rush of Fear.
What? Like,
I think I don't know if it was the same because I know last year my Frequent Fear Plus was $300. So Rush of Fear I think is like $180. So it's almost the price of a Rush of Fear.
Close to that with the tax or the Las Vegas whatever it's called, entertainment tax or something.
Yeah, the jack tax.
Yeah. So $99.
I
I saw that and I was like, bet. And then when I clicked on it to see the initial jump of like, oh, you want to go opening? Oh, it's $129 plus the entertainment. It's like, oh my God.
$99 is gonna be like a week in January like a weekday in January. I'm gonna look at the tickets right now. I'm gonna look up and see when that $99 is. Um, so Albert, I just saw your comment. I know there's other chats, so this one just came up first. It is mostly during the evening because they have you reserve time, so it's not a daytime event. It is a evening style event. Just
Yeah,
wanted to
so
clarify that.
all the times on this, it starts, so if you buying the one-time access, which is the $69, it starts from 2 to 8:30, depends because that whole area has a curfew or a chaperone
Hmm.
type of
Chaperone policy.
yeah, policy. So it depends on when you go. If you go like on a Saturday night, I think this stretch of the time is like 8:30 or 8:40, but it could be a little bit earlier if you buy the one-time access.
Hmm.
So that means you go in at 2. If you buy the unlimited, it starts at 4 or 8 p.m. are the two times that you can choose. Again, with everything that's announced, we always have more questions. So seeing that 4 and 8, I'm like, so are they? We don't know what's the capacity too, because keep in mind, opening weekend has sold out for unlimited.
Yeah.
So Friday, that Saturday, and that Sunday have sold out.
Hmm.
So we don't know the capacity. It could be 10 tickets. It could be 20, 25. I mean,
I
who knows?
I'm thinking honestly, it's fairly small considering how quickly open. Like yes, opening day sold out, but also opening night doesn't sell out that quick for Horror Nights because they have more. Like yes, it's a different ball game, but like opening night single tickets, I feel like they don't sell out. That this thing sold out in 3 hours
Yeah,
for unlimited.
that's great.
That's
I
like
had it. I had it
in the
in my
cart.
cart, and then I went back later on. I was like, oh, let me
It
just
was
refresh the page. I was like, wait, what?
it was I think it's a lot like what happened, and I think going back to the idea of testing, I think it's what we saw last year with Express Frequent Fear, where they had limited capacity of those. They didn't sell a lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why we're not seeing right at least right away any kind of multi-night pass because think about this, Frequent Fear Pass, they can justify the price because it's for 2 months, right? It's why there's no payment plans on it. It's why you have to pay it in full. So with the Frequent Fear. So with this, though, if it's all year round, it's going to be an annual pass. Essentially, it's going to be like how an annual pass functions at a theme park because it's not a couple month running version. So that's just another thing to consider. Also, I just looked. The earliest date for that $99 ticket is November 3rd, which is interesting considering it's pretty much right after it's after haunt season. Absolutely, it's
Wow.
mostly weekdays in November, and then I'm seeing weekdays in December. Same thing. Your Mondays. This thing. This is weird. This is such a weird schedule. So like in December, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't. It operates on Mondays, but not Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Mm.
And a lot of the times it's not operating Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I don't know if that's just a Vegas thing or if that's just their way of like, here's how we give people days off. Like here's because normally Horror Nights it's Wednesday through Sunday, and then
Yeah.
Monday Tuesday are the days off. So it's just that's an interesting thing. But yeah, if you're looking for those $99 elusive tickets for the unlimited, that's what you're looking at when it comes to that kind of access. So it's just something worth considering that it's going to be weekdays in either December, November, December, or January.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny because it's a year-round haunt. So when I take a look at what that means, and I look at, we have 13th floor here in Jacksonville, and I think there's a year-round haunt in Old Town in Orlando.
Yes.
Those are technically, 13th floor is only open, it's year-round, but it's seasonally. So they open for Valentine's, then they have something in Christmas, and then something for the haunt season, October.
Hmm.
And then sometimes they do like a what is it, like Halloween in March or something like that.
Yeah. Like a halfway to
But
Halloween thing.
yeah, halfway to Halloween. So that's kind of what the generalization of year round,
Sure.
because they're going to have struggles of trying to keep this fully staffed and fully open, because it's going to be
Sure.
weird. Like, who's going to go to this thing in like January, like the first
Me.
week in January, unless
Me. I'm going
unless
for my
unless
birthday.
you
My birthday
unless,
trip.
unless you live nearby or you're planning a trip.
I'm gonna go for my birthday weekend where there's nobody there.
But that would be, oh man, that would be the golden time. Just pick that one time where it's like it's not even busy. You get the ultimate. You just have the house to yourself.
Just
Like
go.
that would be the greatest way to see these houses.
Yeah, like if I were to go, let's say if I were to go around the time of my birthday, it would be like, yeah, it'd be that like 120, which is the cheap, compared to 150. It's going to be fairly cheap because my birthday's at the like second week of January. So yeah, no, that's a good time to go. And that's I feel like the weird thing of like, that's the surreal part about it is like the fact that this thing will be open, but it's just like anything else. It's just a part of the entertainment aspect of it.
Yeah.
Also, I know there are quite a few chatters in here talking about how they're rotating and which one and how they're going to go about it. That I don't know because of the fact that I think these houses, the way they're marketing it is that it's a fully themed experience. So I hope they wouldn't just cheap out on the design so that they can change them out quickly. This
Yeah.
is Universal, but like also if you're gonna put your premium, if they're gonna make this at a premium, the one I know a lot of people are like like throwing around ideas of which one they want to change. I honestly could see Monsters being the one that changes because they've done so many Monsters houses, and you can make, I don't want to say generic sets, but you can make sets that can kind of fit in different characters. So that if you were to ask me which house I think is going to go first, Monsters, maybe being another Monsters house or a different original that can fit into that sort of vibe. Just like taking, like, for example, if you were to make a Dracula's Castle house and then you were to be like, oh, we can then make a version of like Gothic, for example, and we can
Yeah.
make it a different house, but you can keep most of the same sets. Not saying they were going to do that. That's a very obscure pick. Although considering that they chose Exorcist Believer, I don't rule out any kind of picks anymore for being too obscure. But anyway, that's just my own kind of thought process because I saw a lot of chats and I know they go back a while, and I didn't want to leave you guys in the dark there.
Yeah. So we're thinking the rotation starts March. I don't even know, like, announcement season. Like, do they roll these out
No.
to get you excited, or is it just like March
They
comes and they're like, stay tuned, like
They
we're
tell
we're
you.
currently working on something.
I mean, think about the fanfare that was when they initially announced these. They announced these back in October, and they just kind of told us what was there. Yes, they did like a PR rollout, and they gave people, the little media box and stuff like that. But like, it wasn't like we're gonna set up a big announcement. It was kind of like this is coming. So like, I wouldn't be shocked if that's how they go about it. And if at least for the first little while, it's a lot of repeat houses, just because of the fact that they already know how to make them. I wouldn't be shocked. We can talk about this. I don't know if now or later. Houses that I think we could see. The one that I was shocked we didn't see was a version of Monstros, considering we had Monstros on both coasts, and it seemed
a
to be
good one, yeah.
fairly popular on both coasts. Like with Scarecrow, not to the same level I would say as Scarecrow, but like it being a popular pick for an original, and it's one that can sell to general public or not, or maybe not the general public, but a broader audience. But
Yeah.
that's just my own. But I saw Dylan had that comment
Oh,
about
the
unlimited tickets. That's why I think it's at low capacity for unlimited, because it's like what does that even mean? Because like with us, a regular Horror Nights ticket is an unlimited ticket because you have free access to everything. If you want to go and do a house 3, 4, 5 times, if you have the time to do it, yeah. It's interesting, and this can be something to think about. These are structured like how Express are structured, where you have one-time use ticket, and you also have an unlimited ticket. That's how Express works in the parks. HHN,
interesting.
unlimited Express passes for HHN are very like, that's kind of a white whale because I know sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's kind of a by night thing, and it's I know it's definitely you have to go up and ask thing. They don't have them on the website, but like for the theme park, if you've been to Universal in any at any point in time, just the regular park. They do have the unlimited and standard express. And yeah, so I think it's interesting that they're structured that way. And it makes me wonder if that's done on purpose.
Yeah, because I was thinking about the entry time for unlimited is 4 and then 8. So are they hoping, I guess in theory, that the people that come in at 4, that gives you 4 hours,
4 hours.
and you should be able to knock everything out, and you're not going to be like us who are just going to stay in as much as
Yeah.
possible. They're probably hoping that, like, oh, you have this unlimited. You come in, maybe in that 4 hours, you can knock out the houses. Then you might eat. You might go back and do one or two of the houses and then leave before the 8 o'clock comes in. Because I really am amazed to see how they're going to structure how is this all going to work?
That's I think the idea, because I see this comment about local haunts doing that, and that's the idea. I think like with I know there's a haunt that I showcased on my channel. It's called Fear Reach. Wonderful haunt, love them. Can't wait to go back this year. But they're like total local haunt. They just started, I believe, in 2023 was their first year, and they have that same structure of like with us when we had the media, because I did get invited for media for that. They gave us like an unlimited pass to go in the trails more than once, which we did. I think we did one of the trails like 3 times. One of the other trails we did, I think both the other trails we did twice, just so we can get footage and stuff. And with that, though, I think the idea is you go buy a single ticket for, theirs is obviously not the same price point as Horror Nights is, but the idea that you can go buy a ticket, do the houses, experience the live entertainment, and be out of there in a couple hours. I think that's kind of the idea that they want, is like,
Yeah.
because it's Horror Unleashed and there's more stuff, I think I wouldn't be shocked if it's also an effort to kind of like get people in those immersive bar areas, because like that's a big focus of this. Like, yes, the houses, but like, let's say the houses are not super long, or like it's not like you can get through the houses rather quickly. The rest of the time is trying the drinks, trying the food, seeing the entertainment, going to see if Jack has a show, or if there's another show in the other areas, or going to a tribute store, buying some merch. It's like, I think that's sort of gonna be the angle that they are looking for, because this is like, this is a first of its kind. With Horror Nights, you have tons of haunted houses, right? So that's gonna take up most of your time. But if you knock out all the houses, you have shows, right? If you knock out all the shows, you have rides. There are a couple rides open during Horror Nights, right? So like, there's stuff to do always, where you have this. You get there at 6 o'clock. You go till 2 a.m. and fill that time with stuff. It's open to close. This is like, you get in at 8 o'clock. I don't know how late this thing stays open. I would assume
that's the thing. We don't
maybe
know. It could be 10. It could be 12. It's Vegas, but then again, I was watching the Hotline live stream, and I think Mr. E was pointing out that whole area. It typically kind of gets cut down time wise. Like, they don't stay open super late. So could be 10, could be 11, which
could be.
I mean, if you come in at 8, 9, 10, 11,
I would
12.
assume midnight. If they're gonna go by 4-hour intervals,
Yeah.
I would assume it's midnight. At the earliest, maybe the thing is, you could see it maybe on certain nights it's open later, like weekend. Maybe you're open until 2, but on the weekday you're maybe only open till midnight, because it's a Monday, and who's out after midnight? Oh, it's Vegas, but who's out there. Also, this question here is one that I am so curious about. Albert, as someone who attends Hollywood, are they going to go with the Orlando protocol of no filming allowed? That's a big question.
Ooh, that's
I think so. I have a feeling they're going to.
I'm gonna say they are going to allow filming. I just can't see them not wanting people to record all the fun, especially because like, it's not like you're just wandering into this for free.
Yeah.
And yeah, people have acted up at Horror Nights on both coasts. That doesn't discourage filming in Hollywood versus filming in Orlando.
Yeah.
I've never encountered any problems in my trips to Hollywood of filming and seeing stupid people in the houses or anything doing dumb stuff. But I can't see them not wanting you to film the stuff. But then again, maybe they don't want the mazes out there. So they
That's
might say you can film obviously throughout the center, the stores, the shows, but not the houses.
that's what I'm thinking. Is that I'm not thinking that they're not going to allow you to film the whole experience. That would be kind of. I feel like they can't because they literally have a shot in the video of people taking pictures with the actors. So like if they didn't want you to film, why would they allow that? Like why would
And
that
I
be a
also
thing?
think because it's in Area 15, and I scoured Unleashed website to try to see if there was a terms, conditions, FAQ, and most
Yeah.
of it's always like, hey, refer to Area 15 stuff. So then when I read their stuff, it was like, yeah, you can film, but you just can't bring in obviously big tripods, professional cameras,
Yeah.
but you can go and film because that's a part of the experience. So
Yeah.
I can kind of see them just being like, this is on the West Coast. We'll excuse it.
I see my counterpoint to that is Area 15, Meow Wolf, from what I understand, they're pretty particular about you not filming in the Omega Mart. Like filming the experience. Like you can
Okay.
film everything else, from what I understand. If anybody has been there and they have more specific, like let me know because I think I'm correct on that. From the videos I've seen, they haven't shown a lot of the Omega Mart experience because of the fact that I think it is no filming at Omega Mart. So again, I could see it being that same thing like Orlando. You can film the scare zones. The shows are a little wishy-washy. I feel like with Nightmare Fuel, they've sometimes said you can, sometimes they say you can't. I've seen people film it, so like that one's a little weird. But like the scare zones and everything else, yeah, you have free open availability to film, take pictures, whatever you want, as long as you're respectful. Of course, that's like a given. But with that, is like because it seems very Orlando. Yeah, this is the image right here. Is exactly what I'm talking about. And is that a wait? What is that? A gimbal? What is that thing she's holding? It
I
looks
don't
like a
even
gimbal or
know.
a mic or
What
something.
is it?
That's what that looks like. So there you go. But it's like yeah. So I think because it seems very Orlando focused, I think it could be that. But I don't know. There's still so much up in the air because I could see the not wanting to spoil it, but also and this is for me. I would love to film. Obviously, I'm not saying this because I don't want to film in the houses. I know people that have their opinions that they don't like filming in the houses, and that's
Yeah.
totally valid. But also, I think having the ability to film in the houses, it's very arbitrary when Hollywood has it. And Hollywood, you could say, oh, it's about the crowds or it's about whatever, but it's like Hollywood has the same crowds we do. Like, it's still a lot of people in Hollywood. Just because
Yeah.
it's not and maybe as big as Orlando, it's like that. So like, I think filming should just be it should either be one or the other. I think in terms of like, I think Orlando is kind of like it's the only major haunt that doesn't really allow it. Knott's allows it. Howl of Scream allows it. HHN Hollywood allows it. That's just my own personal opinion. But that's all I'm gonna say. I said there were gonna be some takes in here that I'm gonna stand behind. But my point is that I think that I'm not sure if they will allow it, but it is an interesting thing to think about from a content creator perspective. Because obviously, like I said, I would love to be able to film these houses and show y'all. And I
Yeah.
know Chris, same thing. Like
Same
he
thing.
would love to
Yep.
be able to film.
Especially with the unlimited ticket, you do one, you film, and then maybe the next time you tuck the camera away, you kind
No,
of just
I
take
would
it
film
in
the whole time. I would film every
the
time.
whole time. That's the hard part, especially when we've done Hollywood or
Yeah.
Knots. It's been like, do I really want to put the camera away? But
But
what
like-
if like this time I get something I didn't get last time?
Yeah, you get a good
Or
shot.
something
You get a good
happens. It's like,
scare.
dang it.
Yeah, you get a good run. Also, Dre saying it definitely took photos and filmed in the Omega Mart.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So maybe
that's,
I don't know. I'm not sure. I've never been. I do want to go
I could have
at some
sworn
point, but
I watched someone was it Losh?
Losh went.
I think he
Also,
did a video. Him
also,
and someone else I've watched did like a video in.
it's Losh's birthday, y'all. So if you're in the chat, Losh is not in
Let's
the
get some
chat.
birthday
Birthday, happy birthday,
balloons or something in the
birthday,
chat
birthday
for good
balloons in
old
the chat
Losh
for Losh
TV.
TV. Yeah, just wanted to say that he's not here with us right now. He's off, probably at the theme parks right now, somewhere, Disney, Universal, or something. But yeah.
Hmm.
Anyway, but yeah, no, it's interesting. It's interesting. Um, do we want to talk about the houses? Since we haven't really talked about the specifics of the houses themselves.
Do we want to talk about what? What'd you
Like,
say? Sorry.
do we want to talk about the houses? Because we haven't really talked about the houses themselves. We've talked about,
That
the
that
event, but
is
like,
true.
I know we have talks about what houses we want to see later on, but I would like to also talk about the houses we have that we know are confirmed coming.
So
Do we?
interesting enough, we have some interesting picks for their houses, to say the least.
Yeah, it's a very weird slate.
Very weird, especially for the opening. You would think you want to come out full swinging, like something to where, people are like, oh my God, I gotta plan a trip. I
Yeah.
don't know. Stranger Things?
Uh,
That would have been a
a
humongous deal.
a Jack house, like a Jack Monsters of Mayhem, or just a Jack Carnival house. Something with Jack in it, other than just the experience.
Yes. And so the first up was Universal Monsters, which we all expected. It will be interesting if the monsters are, taking residence here and then taking residence over in Epic, but not at Horror Nights this year.
Yeah.
Is it too much monsters? Maybe. And it also depends on what they do with this monsters. We just got a blank, Universal Monsters. It just doesn't say who's going to be in the house. Is it a story? Is it like that one house they did, 4 years back, 5 years? Where it's just like a compilation of like, here's the Wolfman, here's Gillman, here's, is it going to be something like that?
Yeah. For one, I would not be shocked if this is the end of the monsters at HHN for a while, because for me, we've had 6 of them, 7 if you count Hollywood, right? 2018, Bride, Legislite, a Mass, 5,
Yeah,
6
I'm
in
expecting
Hollywood.
that history of monsters at
I
Horror
already did
Nights
that.
video.
I already did that. That video's already been done. I need to update it, but I already
Now
did
you
that
gotta
video.
update it. Yeah.
Yeah, because we haven't had 2 of them, but yeah. So I think this is kind of the, like, okay, we're moving it around. I don't think, as much as I know Chris, you loved Eternal Bloodlines. I'm not someone who, I think it's definitely going to be that monsters compilation house where it's everybody, because notice in the video they showed the Mummy, they showed Frankenstein's monster, they showed Dracula, they showed
Wolfman.
all the Wolfman, all the key players, and in the press release they just stated Universal Monsters. They didn't say Universal Monsters the
Yeah, yeah.
Universal Monsters the
Paris
Bride
or
or Paris or yeah. But I think it could be, like I said, could be something they spin off of. Like we basically could be resetting. We could be resetting the monsters where we now start over, do monsters together again, and then do more spin-offs from there. I I
Ooh,
I like this idea, although I wish we would have gotten this actually in Orlando
yeah,
because of the
last
fact.
year instead of
Yes,
Bloodlines. Yeah.
yeah, last year. And you could definitely almost feel like there was kind of a little bit of hint of that in there, with Saskia being kind of similar to Victoria Frankenstein and kind of the character. So that's just something, I don't know if that's anybody else that kind of drew some of those parallels, but yeah, I
I
definitely
definitely
think,
thought it. I thought it
yeah,
was her.
yeah, yeah. Everybody's like, wait, is this the? No, that's not her. Okay, she even kind of like dressed the same. She has the crossbow. Both of them have the crossbow. So it's
Again,
like,
maybe they were testing some of the
oh
outfits
yeah,
and stuff.
Yeah, like I think testing to see how that, because then
Mm-hmm.
then it begs the question, what happens to some of those characters that were exclusive, like Saskia, who was exclusive to the house. Obviously, spoilers. I mean, it's over. She dies. But I know spoilers for the house that closed 6 months ago. But if you missed it, sorry. But this one I could definitely see being that sort of classic. Let's bring everybody together. Which in that case, I'm actually kind of excited for that because my first year of Monsters was not until they started doing spin-offs. So also, yes, the weekend is another big one that I think would have been a great
Ooh.
pull.
Yeah, especially with the new album.
With the
That was a
Nightmare
miss.
trilogy.
Yes.
Yeah, Nightmare trilogy which I would love to see. Once the movie comes out and once more of the music. I don't know if he's doing any more music videos. I know the movie's coming out soon. I would have loved to seen them do Nightmare trilogy after the fact because like since they did it early, it's kind of like that Exorcist situation, which we'll talk
Yeah.
about. That there's so much stuff that we didn't know what it was until now when the
Yeah.
movie's coming out, the album, you know.
Which is interesting. I wonder if this is a collaboration or do Universal kind of have the rights to bring this back? Like, even though it's a trilogy, it's going to be done. It's now over. It's not coming to Horror Nights this year.
Yeah.
Could they bring this back and put it in Vegas, or is it one of those things where the weekend's like, look, that's done. That chapter's over. Like, you're not going to use that anymore.
That's definitely what it feels like. It definitely feels like that, where it's like this is the end of the weekend as the artist,
Hmm.
and like I said, I just wish we'd gotten that this year instead of last year with the actual context of. Now, granted, I believe the album was supposed to come out in October,
Hmm.
and then it got
Yeah.
pushed back, but yeah, so I'm curious, but yeah, I'm excited for Monsters in terms of like actually I'm always gonna like monsters. I know a lot of people have their reservations. I'm always gonna like monsters. I'm always gonna be excited for it. I will say I'm not. This isn't my the top of my hype list for this. I'm
Ooh.
excited for other houses more than monsters,
Wow.
but I
Wow.
mean it is. It just
I
it is
mean, I
because I've
guess
seen.
I'm the same as well. I
Yeah,
can't.
I mean I've seen three of them. I've seen three. The one that because I came in with Legends Collide was my first monster house. So like
Mm,
I have never seen a traditional like Frankenstein house.
yeah.
Never really saw the. I mean, we did see Phantom of the Opera Nem and Unmasked, Bride last year with what do you call that? Bloodlines.
Yeah.
So, and of course Mummy with Legends Collide. So it's basically a mummy house. But yeah, I'm excited. I think it's cool.
And then we have what's the next one? The oops, nope, not that one.
Oh, you're gonna miss it. It's gonna get
It's
it.
been
There we
the
go. There
least
we go.
time. This been the least time on The Exorcist.
They said The Exorcist.
Yeah, they really do. Why is it so much longer on the monsters? They're like monsters,
They're like,
Exorcist. 2 seconds later.
yes, we do need Gilman. Although, will they actually do it? Is the question. Do you have any photos of the logos? I can send a photo of it. It's on the Twitter. If you wanted to pull up the Twitter, the Horde Unleashed Twitter has all the logos on there.
It
So you
just
don't have
doesn't want
to.
to play
You
Exorcist.
just
I
you
guess no
don't
one
want to.
is excited for that one. No.
Well, I wouldn't say no
See,
one.
it just
It's telling us to skip The Exorcist.
yes, it's like no Exorcist.
It keeps going back to monsters. It knows you're
No,
on the stream, Chris, because it knows how you feel
because
about the
see,
monsters.
I can do all the other ones. See,
This
told
is
you.
this is entertaining. This is an entertaining. Even the trailer's ashamed of Exorcist Believer.
Oh,
At this point, I just pull up the Twitter with all the logos on there.
I got it. Uh, continue to talk. I will do this. All right, I got
Okay,
you.
so let's talk about Exorcist. Chris, you said that no one's excited for Exorcist. That's a lie.
Oh,
Because I am excited for Exorcist, and I
you
know
are.
that's the only. I'm the only person that's going to be. Well, not the only
Mhm.
person, but I know a few people that really love that house. It's only now doing it in 2025 after the movies come out. Wild, a wild choice.
That is
When
bold.
when you have the regular Exorcist, which I don't think is too hard for them to get because they've done it in Hollywood a million times, right? The and even if you wanted to have Blumhouse, The Purge, The Black Phone, Freaky, any of the characters we saw in the Scare Zone last year,
Mm,
those are fairly easy to access, and those would be a much bigger deal than having The Exorcist Believer,
yeah.
right? And for me, I'm like, my excitement comes from the fact that I loved this house. I loved the house in 2023 a lot. But I only saw the Orlando version, so I don't know if it's gonna be, how it's gonna be. If it's gonna be more like Orlando, more like Hollywood, different altogether. Will we see more of the movie? I hope not. I don't want to see what's actually in the movie. I don't give a shit about what's in the movie. I'm sorry, y'all. I'd much rather just see what we saw in the house
Yeah.
instead, right? But um, but yeah, I'm excited for Exorcist mostly because I love the house so much. Um, yeah, house was legit. Love the house. I know a lot of people love the house, and I did too. I thought it was great. It was a grower. I didn't really like it in the first time I went through it. It wasn't until closing night, and we did this house tons of times, like back to back to back, that I really found myself loving it coming out of it. The aggression. This could be the scariest house of the event, which is cool, you know.
Yeah. It.
But
It could be. It could be
lots of
rivaling something else. Well,
I know
actually, the next three
the next
are
the next
all.
three. That's
So,
right.
so we're believing with that theory, Universal Monsters is more the lighter house because there's got to be maybe a tier here, a tier
Yeah.
system of like if someone's like bringing their kids and they're asking the people there like, what's the scariest? They're going to be probably
Yeah.
like, start off with monsters. Maybe that's
Yeah.
beautiful. Maybe that's classic. It's
Yeah.
bigger sets. But
Mm-hmm.
then the rest of these are like, give that kid some Red Bull or something before. Not alcohol, just Red Bull.
I think it'll go. I think for scare meter because a lot. I mean, for real. Yeah, the smells. The thing is though, with this is that like okay, when you have these smells, with ours we had two major smells, right? We had that smell that everybody knows, but then there was also that smell that was right when you walked in, that kind of musky dirt smell. It was a different smell. It wasn't the same one. Yes, graveyard games. Yes, that's another one that I think would have been a good. I want Hollywood to get that house. I want Hollywood to get a Graveyard Games house. I think it would have been a good kind of exam, like a good kind of test, to see if it would work over there, like a version
Yeah.
of Graveyard Games, like what they did with one of the ones that's coming to this event. But yeah, with the smells though, the thing is, we know that smell radiates through that whole soundstage. So if you put all of these houses and you put a smell like that, and it's all in one building. So what do you think? I don't want to be eating pizza fries and smell that. Same thing with with Texas. It's the same situation. So like, unless you can control it, don't even bother, or try to make it minimal. If it's like
Yeah.
like Montrose, I think Montrose was able to control it a little more because Montrose did have a smell. Our Montrose, not Hollywood's. Our Montrose was able to have. It had that same smell in the La Lechuza nest room, but it was only in that room. Like it didn't like go beyond that, which is good. It did have a weird smell in the facade, but I don't know if that was like a specific smell or not. I don't know if it was
Yeah.
just me. It smelled strange in that facade. But yeah, yeah, great house. I'm excited. This
I'm
one's higher for me
curious.
than most people.
I'm curious with it being sort of this a premier location in this whole destination thing Horror Nights is trying with this, and I want them to try different scares and elevated stuff that you can't get at Horror Nights because they need stuff to reset. There's so many people coming through. And keep in mind, with this event or this place, it's not supposed to be what 30,000 people, in the park. It's very small. It's supposed to be intimate. I wonder, are we going to see stuff like maybe one of the girls crawling on the ceiling? Stuff like that where you're like, oh, they wouldn't do that at, Orlando or Hollywood, but they can do it here. Maybe bungee stuff, like just effects that we are like, what? They put this in the house?
Yeah.
Like, I want to be amazed and just dumbfounded when I go into these houses.
Yeah. Also, sorry, I'm laughing at the chat.
Oh.
The comments in the chat. Oh man, that's funny. But yeah, no, I want to see. Going back to what you're saying. Yeah, I definitely want to see. Just want to see them try different things. I know there's like, oh hey Emily, welcome to the show. No, I want to see like, I don't know, because like thinking about the movie, like, because there was stuff like that smell was not really like, that part of the house was not in the movie. The whole like smear on the wall, like that was not in the film. At least in the version that we watched. I didn't watch. Maybe they had an extended version. I didn't see that version. I want to say I did hear that scene was cut from the movie. So I did not see that one. But it does make me think of what they could bring to the house that they had in the movie, or if they're just gonna go more. Because like what I really liked in the house was the whole, and Hollywood did this too, the flip where you go into like the red, like with the stuff on the walls, and like Hollywood did that cool pulsating effect of the lights and the hands coming out of like the doors and stuff. Like that was really neat visual. But and Orlando did it too, where they flipped the same scene, but they did it in like a much more hell-like way. I would love to see that, then bring that back. That's one thing I do want to see. Also, hello, Exploring Attractions. Welcome to the stream. I'm looking at some comments here. Yeah.
Some of them good.
Hanging out. What's up?
Oh, I said some of them good. Hello, everybody. Hello. What's up? What up, Scott? What is up, sir? Will you be heading to Vegas? Oh, well, that's kind of funny to think. Yeah.
That's a surprise drop house. That's one they're gonna add. Yes, that's one of my favorite opening scenes of that year, with the music in the back, the sounds, the smells, the visuals. It was just it like puts you right in that place. And that's what I think was so underrated about that house, was that there were pockets where the detail was so crazy, and I loved it.
Yeah, I love the house. I'm looking forward to this, even though we've done it.
Yeah.
And I thought we would been moved past this, but I guess this was one of their ones that it was in their back pocket. They were like, yeah, we did this previously, and it's still fresh in people's minds. It got good reception, so why wouldn't we? Plus, if you missed that year, you're like, oh, this is my chance. I can see The Exorcist Believer now.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those two that maybe, at the time they did this, they signed on for Exorcist Believer. Maybe that was in the contract. Like it could be
that's true.
It could be a thing. Like it could have been a part of it where it was like, because you're wondering like, why would they choose to do that, especially when they have other Blumhouse properties that are bigger. But yeah, so we need to be.
That's a good one.
We need the Zombie Chris gambling tour in Vegas. That needs to happen. So what's happening when we go to Horror Unleashed? What's going
Oh,
on?
for the. I, sir, have never gambled in my life. Well,
Well,
not in Vegas.
you gambled with Lady Luck.
Well, that's true.
Where's
Yeah,
Lady Luck at? Where's she at this event?
yeah. I might have to throw something in those slot machines, maybe.
That's something I wouldn't mind seeing them do. A
Ooh,
new
a Horror
version of
Nights
Lady Luck.
slot machine inside.
No. A new version of Lady Luck, but also a Horror Night slot machine
Oh,
too. But yeah,
because Vegas.
yeah,
Ah,
like like an updated version because obviously she can shapeshift. So like
yeah.
you can always say it's a different look for
Hmm.
Lady Luck to not have the same look.
And the next is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw. Those who have been to Hollywood will get that joke. Do you love some Leatherface, Dreamport?
I do. Now, I'm going to say this. I did not go and see Legacy of Leatherface last year. I did not go to the event, right? So I didn't see that one. But I did I did see I do like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like the series, because of the fact that like it's an iconic one, but like this isn't Legacy of Leatherface. This is just Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
No,
which is
it
making me
needs to
think.
be the legacy.
Oh no,
Give
that sounds like
me
a
John
licensing.
Murdy's house.
That's something only Murdy can pull off. That's a licensing nightmare, I'm sure.
He was in the video.
He was in the video, but people are quick to point out he just said he was in the promotional video, that he's not involved. He said that himself.
He's not involved, but maybe he sent over his, script and
Sent over-
his
I'm
house
sure.
revisions and
Yeah, I'm sure like that was an executive like same thing with Mike. I'm sure that they were like, yeah,
Oh,
sure.
yeah. They're like, yeah, you know this Jack character, right? Yeah.
Was I'm not sure if it was already. I guess that was kind of during his prime with Lady Luck with Mike, right? That was like kind of like his era,
Yeah.
that kind of time period. So, just saying, bring Lady Luck over. Anyway, yeah, TCM honestly is just for me. It's I'm not there. I'm not there with it like some people are. I'm kind of take it or leave it. Like I'm excited to see it, but I also don't love chainsaws. Like chainsaws annoy me. So
Yeah.
like not in a way of like I respect the people that swing them around, but like I don't. That alone doesn't do it for me. So also, if it's Legacy, Leatherface will there be any merch. So because of the licensing, I believe that was the reason why there wasn't any merch at Hollywood. There was nothing, which is weird because it's like that's why I'm sure they went back to this original one. They're like partially it's like, hey, we're gonna want to merchandise. That's gonna be one of those merchandise IPs that they're gonna want to sell.
Yeah.
T-shirts.
I would have
and stuff.
loved to get a legacy of
Oh, yeah.
Leatherface shirt.
The design was so cool. The like poster with the black and white and all the different versions. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. It was definitely one of, I think, my favorites of last year. We went through, I think, twice, maybe
Hmm.
2 or 3 times, but I enjoyed it. It always scared us.
Sure.
All the different cool looking leather faces. Like this idea is so ahead of his time. Like John Murdy this is like the crowning jewel, I think, of one of, like, if we look back on the history of John Murdy and Horror Nights, this is definitely, I think,
Oh, it's up there.
on there.
Yeah.
It will be interesting if they don't do that and they just do the generic Leatherface house. Like you're going into the house and it's the same thing that we've seen before. So I don't know what they could elevate the Vegas experience for this one.
I mean, we also did when we had it last. We had a little bit of Texas Chainsaw 2 in there because it was kind of sandwiched between both movies.
Yeah.
So maybe they do something like that where they have, they can bring Chop Top in there. They can have, the stuff from 2 a little bit. Maybe have some of the outfits and stuff. Or, put, like, I'm trying to think of all what that was in that movie. But, like, have it be... The one thing that I wish they would do and they did it with Legacy of Leatherface, but like the biggest thing that I feel like people misunderstand about Texas Chainsaw Massacre is it's not just about Leatherface; it's about the family. And they've done that in Hollywood houses before. We had Grandpa, and you had
Yeah.
Nubbins, and you
Blood
had
Brothers and
yeah, and they had Top, and they had all the whole family there. And so like you have that whole family connection. That could be an interesting angle rather than just having him come out with the chainsaw every, because that's what I thought was cool about Legacy of Leatherface too, is like, yes, you had the chainsaw, but you also had, the overhead scares where they were like, you were in that pit and
Yeah.
they were like zapping you with the little cattle prods or whatever. like that was neat. And then having, obviously so many of the references to the visuals of those films. But yeah, we're gonna get the graveyard, we're gonna get the dinner scene, we're gonna get the locker, we're gonna get the his lair with all the couches and or chair like bone chairs and chicken stuff.
Yeah.
Now that's a question. Would you rather have Michael Myers? Albert, thank you for asking that.
Shoot. Um. Wow, that's a good one. They both have been so kind of overdone. I mean, Texas a little bit more than Michael, but for me, those Michael houses haven't been hitting the mark. Not since, not since that
Not
way,
since the
way, way
first
back
one.
Yeah.
The thing is though with that is that if you're taking the first movies of both, right? Because with Michael Myers, they've done so many of them different
Yeah.
that I'm like, I would love to see a Legacy of Leatherface with Michael Myers. I think that would be really fun. All the different
yes.
versions,
Oh,
all the
man.
different kills.
Wow.
But obviously, and that I think would be a little easier to do because you're not dealing with so many studios, right? Universal has access to Halloween 2, which is something that I don't know why they haven't leaned more. Like, yes, they had that house, but because Halloween 2 is everywhere and there's so much iconic imagery from the hospital, the the hot tub kill,
Bleeding eyes.
the bleeding
everything.
eyes, the when she sticks the syringe and lifts her up in the air, like that stuff, the burning, burning down everything that they even brought back for Halloween Kills, that like that I think could be something they could go for. But like, and I was thinking it was going to be Halloween because I feel like Halloween, for me, I think it sells better.
Yeah.
It's a bigger draw, I feel like, than Texas Chainsaw in terms of like people. I feel like Michael Myers is slightly more recognizable. Although I enjoy both. Like the both films are in my top, some of my top horror movies of all time. They're some of the best ever made. The first, and I really like. I like the sequels for both, honestly. I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I think it's kind of stupid and funny. And I love Halloween 2 because I think it's kind of stupid and funny too, in a way. So it's like, I'm either way on this, like I said. But Michael Myers would be interesting. Maybe that's one they eventually do.
So do you think if they had announced the Blumhouse Michael Myers trilogy or the original Halloween, which one do you think would have been the bigger draw?
See, I think Blumhouse would have killed two birds with one stone because of the fact that it is, for the new people, it's still Michael Myers, right? Still iconic. While it's an older version, that can always be tweaked. But I think that's also kind of interesting anyway, having like the older mask, but also having those new movies, I think could have attracted us, people who have been wanting to see those new movies. But at the same time, I don't know if there are as many iconic kills to replicate, like kill moment. There are definitely some big moments in those movies, but compared to Halloween, you have, oh my god, I can't even remember all the names. When he puts on the sheet with the glasses, chokes the girl with the phone line. When he chokes out the girl in the car. Obviously, Laurie and Michael, and Bob when he sticks him up against the door. That is like, I feel like those moments are a little more iconic than it's. There's a reason why they've done them so many times. They've had him busting through the closet door and all that stuff. So it's like, I think that's just a bigger sell. Although it makes me curious when we're going to see Halloween again, because like this is coming up to that time. You know, it's been, this is what, 3 years now. We're kind of like, all right. I'm not saying that I necessarily want to see it again, but also like, you know, Texas Chainsaw is every 4 years for Hollywood. Michael Myers is like every couple years. I feel like for us.
I never even knew that was a thing until John Murdy's press conference on Legacy when he was like, "Oh, you know, naming the houses," and he's like, "Every 4 years,
Every 4 years,
do you see a pattern here?" I was like,
I don't think that was. I think that was just a coincidence that he said. And it's like, oh, that would have been a great thing to put in the presentation. I don't know. I'm not a West Coaster, so like anything I say about the West Coast is going to be totally from an elitist Orlando standpoint. So you know, I'm not even gonna. I'm just kidding. I want to go to the West Coast.
Evil dies tonight.
Evil dies tonight. Yes, that's all that the house needs to be. Just people coming out with picket signs and stuff.
But I would love. The last thing I'll say about Texas, I would love for them to incorporate what they did with the Orlando house a couple years back, where they had that last scene where it was like the I forget the survivor's name, where she like runs and jumps out the window, and then you go out of the house into the junkyard and there's still like scares, because it almost made you feel like, oh, well, we're done, the house is over, but then you reach outside the house and you're like, oh man, there's a junkyard and there's more Leatherfaces. So I hope they kind of continue that to make it seem like it's not just the whole house is the house. You know, I hope we have something maybe leading up to it, maybe like the cornfield, like you said, the graveyard, right before you get to the house, and then we go into the house. So I'm hoping they expand it a little bit.
Yeah, and I think like, you know, I really like how we did that facade for our last one where we had the gas station. It was like it wasn't starting out in the house. It had a little bit before you even got there, because like I said, there's only so much you can do with the house. There's only, you know, a handful of scenes and places. You can always expand it. They have done that before. I mean, like Legacy of Leatherface was an all new story, but Sally Hardesty, thank you.
Yeah,
Sally. Yeah, I couldn't remember the name.
How could I forget?
I can never remember her name. I need to watch Texas Chainsaw again. I guess I got to watch it before Horror Unleashed opens so I can get refreshed.
It's an interesting watch, I'll say that.
It's a great movie. Nothing is ever going to get to that point of that first one. That's the thing, is the sequels are great. You know, some of them have been really great. Some of them have been really weird, but like they've never hit, because that first movie is like in a league of its own, and that's why it's like, I get why it's same thing with The Exorcist. Same thing with The Exorcist, where it's like they've hit. You know, I thought Exorcist 3 was pretty cool. I didn't hate Believer as much as a lot of people did, but they're never going to get to that original movie. Like, it's just not going to happen.
And we have the last one, the biggest elephant in the room is...
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. This is top of the hype list. Easy. Easy. Come on.
Especially for reasons, obviously, for you. I've experienced the original in Orlando. Still one of the scariest houses they've done. It's so scary that I've blocked most of it from my memory. I don't remember too much.
That's awesome.
And then the one in Hollywood. So it will be interesting if they're going to go that route of the Hollywood one or a mixture, you know, because this is a bigger soundstage area, maybe bigger sets and not so close quarters, or they're going to play around with that.
One thing that I hope that, you know, because this isn't all original. This is the only complete original item we have coming as far as houses go. Everything else is IP, right?
Yeah.
Monsters is debatable, but it is still an IP technically, right? With this, they've expanded this so much between, you know, you have the Orlando original. Most people, I don't think, would be upset if they just copy and pasted that original house here, right?
Yeah.
With Hollywood, they changed it up. They made it fit the Hollywood format. And they expanded certain aspects of it. They expanded certain scenes. And then we also got the Scare Zone, which was itself an expansion of the story. We're going outside of the barn, roaming around with the scarecrows. So I could see them maybe tackling all three of those, maybe mixing them together, or maybe just doing kind of like what Hollywood did, to take the formula, take some of the, close quarter scares, very intense scares, some misdirect scares, but
Yeah.
usually focus on the intensity and really like hone it in to fit that location. So that's just what I think would be a great idea for that. Yeah.
And you get to finally say you
And I
did
get to
Scarecrow
see
the
it.
Reaping.
I didn't get to see it because I did the Scare Zone. I didn't
Yeah.
get to do the house, but I did do the Scare. And Scare Zone was awesome, and it was very scary, especially being me being still very new to the event. That was one of the few Scare Zones that actually scared me because it was just so dark, it was so dank, it was just so dingy, and there's it's Central Park, so there's always
Yeah.
going to be full of actors. Um, you're probably better to answer that chat question, Chris, about the top three scariest houses. For me, I can say, as much as I don't love, as much as I have my thoughts on Insidious, it was very scary. Insidious, I'd say Insidious, Exorcist, and I'd say Legends Collide. Out of the years that I've been, I'm still relatively new, so I don't have as many years of experience, but like those three were pretty consistently scary each time.
Man, that's a tough one. Really tough. I've done so many years in so many houses, so it's just like, okay, so what's scary this year? What's scary this year? Does it top the one before? Like, if I went back and said like Catacombs was scary, that's one. Dead Exposure was scary. Insidious. Both Insidiouses were scary. Scarecrow, the first Halloween. So I don't know if I can just name it down to a top three without really writing them all down and then really kind of doing a graph or a ranking of each one. But those are some of the top ones I think that come to mind. I'm trying to think if there's been anything. No, yeah, those are probably the top ones off my head. If I Now Hollywood's totally different itself. Legends Collide Triple Square, yeah, that was a doozy.
Yeah, it being that was so in my first HHN experience, it was Legends Collide was the house I was there for, right? And I was like, I was still obviously new to the event. My first time going, we beelined straight to the weekend, right? The weekend was the first house I did. I'm like, okay, obviously you're terrified the first time you go in an HHN house because you don't know what to expect, right? You're like, what is going to happen here? And then it was just like, scare. Okay, I got a couple good scares in there, but then I came out. I was like, all right, cool. Let's hit Legends Collide, and I was like, wow, I really hate my life after that one going in the first time. But it was like it was effective. It was very aggressive scares, triple scares, double scares, even like regular standard. But yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah.
If I had to take a guess, it's going to be probably February, so March, somewhere between late March and or April.
It was
They're
the
not
beginning
gonna
of
probably
March.
release this around Epic Universe time, and we might. I guess we can maybe move on. No. Do you have any more that you want to discuss about Vegas?
No, I'm pretty much for me, Scarecrow, Exorcist, Monsters, Texas. That's probably my order of houses.
I think mine is Monsters. Monsters dead last, obviously. Monsters. Oh man. Exorcist, Texas, and then Scarecrow.
Okay. That's fair.
I like Texas, man. I like
Yeah, man.
Texas.
Hey.
I love me some Leatherface, man.
Yeah. Dog will hunt.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Anyway,
that house was terrifying. As you see in the intro piece, it I had to blank out some of the words I chose when Leatherface came out. So,
some of the choice words. So they did last year, but we have no
yeah,
clue when tickets are dropping. That's going to be weird when considering Epic. I think Epic's the big, weird kind of wrench in everything this year when it comes to HHN.
that's true. Yes, big wrench. So if I had to take a guess, speculation map somewhere next month. I
It
mean,
was
I
early
don't
March
know,
last year,
but
so I
huh?
would assume it
Yeah.
was like March, like middle of March last year. So I would
Mm,
assume it's going to be at that point, if not later this month, because of the fact that we're having a lot of leaks, lots of things are being thrown out there. So map isn't going to be, I think, as surprising as people are thinking it's going to be because of the fact that we've already had so many rumors going around over the past few months.
yeah.
But
I would say it's more interesting for Hollywood than it is for Orlando at this point.
yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep. But yeah, no, I think it'll be like April timeframe, March, April. Maybe I really would love for them to go back to that. We drop tickets and then we drop a house announcement on the same, like have that be a joint thing,
Yes.
because it
Not
would get
just
people
the
the T-shirt.
a tease or a video that has nothing to do with the event, right? And then a preview merch.
Yeah, like our door video last year. Hey, you know what? I will say it was better than the static video because at least that was a video that was
Yes.
actually a
That led to
thing.
yeah, that's
Like it
true.
was actually a produced video. It wasn't like let's do the static thing and let's have people sit there for 20 minutes try to dissect static, which we did. You know, not gonna know no shame. We did that, but
I see it. Don't you see it? I see
yeah,
it.
don't you see? It's Doctor Oddfellow's face there in
His
the
face looked nothing like that
his face.
scrambled thing. Oh,
Will
you have
Dreamport ever
questions
do
there.
Hollywood? I want to. This year, I really want to, especially if things are looking the way they're looking for Hollywood. But also in the event to see Horror Unleashed because that's kind of a joint. That can be a joint trip, you know, versus
Yeah.
and also Knott's. I've been wanting to see Knott's too. Everybody sings the praises of Knott's Scary Farm, and I'm like, oh man, these
Those
mazes
in the
look
chat will
badass.
know.
Yeah,
Scott,
they look badass. I
Rob,
want to see it.
Tony, you all know. Knots,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah, I have to see, and especially if some of those because some of those houses that I want to see, I know are coming close to their. You know, Origins has been around since 2018. Mesmer is coming up soon. It's probably going to be coming up soon. You know, a couple of the other ones. I know Cinema Slasher's here to stay for at least a couple more years. That one I want to see, and the new ones from last year, and then whatever new ones they bring this year. But that's a good question.
Do I have any theory? So I have not heard a single word on icon wise or anything of that nature or anything that is a cohesive between a theme with the icon and the merch. I've only heard other stuff, so I can't really think of because every year I sit here and I say, okay, Horror Nights did this the last year or the last previous year, and I always try to like think of where they're going, and I can never think of where they're
Yeah,
going because it's like the year before Oddfellow. I was like, okay, so what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? They just had the Halloween wrap up. What are we gonna do with 32? I did not even forecast that Oddfellow stuff, especially just the astrology and the theming. And then I was like, well, what are they going to do for next year? Like, are they going to dip back in older icons? Like, what are they going to do? Are they going to continue on the road of new icons every year? What do? They create two brand new icons, and for the first time ever, bringing two icons to run the event. So my best guess is There will be an icon. I think they're going to just continue on this because at this point, they understand they can't do an event without an icon or just calling it like, oh, evil. Like evil's everywhere, the presence of evil. It
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
work. You need someone to be at the face for the event. That first greeting, the first scare zone, the merch. It's an easy tie-in when you create the icon and then have everything kind of wrap around or involve it. So an icon, but your best guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, I think it's definitely too like if you're gonna have yeah that's what I want.
Just have that be the icon.
Yeah,
Legendary
have it be
Truth.
the theme. I
The
think
investigation, right?
Legendary Truth, I think, should have been the bridge between anniversary years. It always should. It should be some kind of bridge between anniversary years because of the fact that it is quite literally. It's kind of like the meta side of HHN lore, where it's kind of like it acknowledges that all these icons exist, but it also acknowledges that the real world exists in a way. It's very weird. It's like a weird gray area where it's like something the guests have been a part of. We've had interactive experiences with Legendary Truth, so it's an interesting one. Also, yes,
Yeah.
Dylan, it is very daunting, especially for your first
is.
time.
Yeah. I thought like when I first used to think like, man, one day, Hollywood, man, one day.
Yeah.
And I used to watch those opening day videos of everyone doing the rush where it's like the actors lined up and then they run towards the crowd. And I was like, one day I'm gonna be there. And then when I got there, I was like, holy crap, it's not cheap. And
No,
it's a lot
no,
of
no.
planning unless you go with people that know. I like now I think I could plan like a trip on my own just because I know where to stay and kind of the layouts of where to travel to. But man, the first time you do it you got to go with people who know or at least kind of can show you the ins and outs. 'Cause especially like it's just let alone the traveling. But then you think of, oh yeah, I'm in a Universal Park that's different. And how does this crowd navigate and where the house is and what's a good place to eat at? There's a lot of little things that you don't think about. In Orlando, like we can tell people, you know, the ins and outs and how to get there and the best tips and what to do first. But in Hollywood, you're like, it's a different beast because you have to pay for the early access
Early
because you
entry,
don't get
yeah.
it, you know, like in Orlando. And then that deciphers where you go. And then you got the tram tour, Terror Tram, and then so it's a lot.
And that is like, yeah, and just navigating Los Angeles is its own thing. Like when we went over to Hollywood last year in February, it was like getting to and from Universal, and then also like hell finding Universal from City Walk because I was dropped off. When I dropped off at City Walk, and I'm like, where the hell is the park at? With us.
You were dropped
Yeah.
off in the little roundabout, right?
In the
That
back.
starts, yeah.
Yeah, by where? God, I can't even tell you.
Is it where
is.
the theater, like way past the theater?
No, it was where. Right now they have an Epic Universe preview store there, but they used to have a Monster store,
okay, yeah,
HHN
yeah.
store, that
Yeah.
Production Central store. There's like a little exit there. That's where I was dropped off at. So I was like, okay, where the hell am I at? How do I find a park? How do I do security? Like your security is all different. Having the
Oh, yeah,
tickets all
that's true.
different. The whole thing.
I forgot
And I
about
know
that, yeah.
I know they're looking at potentially changing that too.
Yeah.
It's like that's like a thing that's like kind of undergoing new hotels coming and all that stuff. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, I do want to see it, especially because the fact that I can actually film the houses is like that's another motivating factor to make me want to go out there.
That was like, well, well, Orlando's not going to allow us to film, so I guess I got to go elsewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh, so as someone who does Hollywood, I don't get the obsession with the icons. I never thought about that because Hollywood doesn't do icons necessarily, but they do have some iconic statuesque characters.
Iconic
The
characters.
Crow, the Crow, He's on a damn shirt. He had his own zone. He is an icon of Horror Nights.
He had a figurine, a Studio
Yes.
Screamers figure.
That's true. So he
Did
is
you-
an icon character.
Did you get that one? Did you get the
the-
figure?
Ooh, matter of
Did
fact,
you get that
I?
one?
No, I don't think I got
Oh,
the
damn.
crow. Was the one I wanted. I think Losh
damn.
has it. Maybe.
Losh probably has
Maybe he has an extra one. I did
Anyway.
get the shirt though.
Yeah.
Praise to be the crow. So him, you have Monstros.
yeah.
What's his name? Morte. He is an icon, believe it or not. Larry Larva, icon.
I mean, I'd even say like La Llorona, because she's been
Yeah.
at the event so many times, and she's like
She's in
such
the
a
courtyard
big,
every year.
yeah, such a big presence at that event. Everybody, I feel like, loves La Llorona.
So I mean, Hollywood, they have icons, but they're not like Orlando icons, and I get it.
no.
I mean, when you've come from the old age of Horror Nights, icons were what they took over. So many years of Horror Nights.
I mean,
16 was the Sweet 16, and then you have 13, 14.
they've been doing
Tells.
they've been doing icons. They did them for 10 years straight, and then they did Lady Luck, and then they did
And then
Chance
they
in
took that
2016.
that weird break.
Yeah, and then they had I would consider now to be the new icon era with Pumpkin Lord, Oddfellows, Sinister and Surreal, and then whatever's coming if they're gonna do another one.
I don't think they've ever publicly stated why.
No, and they probably won't.
Yeah, I don't necessarily understand why. I don't get it. It's just
Yeah,
you get me. I don't know. Maybe I don't know because they have media night and they invite them to record, so it's not an issue of things not being on camera. So
in fact,
it beats
they
me.
they doll them up like, people will slow down in the houses. They'll staff. They'll make sure those houses are staffed to ensure you don't ever see a bad walkthrough normally on a media video. Normally, not saying anybody. Well, we know people that do. We know people that do media and get media, so that's nothing against them. Obviously, it's not them. It's just them that are part of it. Welcome, Stefano. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, it's funny. Hollywood allows it, which is a weird feeling of traveling over there after going to our event and then just being like, oh yeah, I don't need to put the camera away. Like you're not gonna say anything.
Yeah. Oh, and it also allows like so many of, even like videographers and photographers to capture these incredible photos. Because from
Yes,
the scare,
that is true. Yeah.
from this character perspective too, it's like the characters, that's their way of like showing their family what they do. You're like, what do you do? It's like, oh yeah, here's me in the house. And when you're doing that, you have like, oh man, I really had a kick-ass time doing Horror Nights. I was this fun character. And then it ends up becoming a thing where you can be like, oh wow, I have these great photos of my time as El Kukui, or I have these great photos of my time as Garaka or the Red Demon or whatever. So I see, Dylan, I would say pacing, but the fact that Hollywood, like I said, crowds in Hollywood are not that much lower. On thinking of like last year it was an odd year, but the year before it was like 3-hour lines for everything. So it's like it doesn't even, because last year there was a whole controversial thing about move on, like keep moving.
Move,
They kept
keep
pushing
moving,
people
keep
through.
moving.
And I don't know if you experienced that in your
Oh,
trip. Yeah, while you're trying to take in the house or trying to film or anything, it's like that keep moving.
Especially, I have it probably on video when I was like in front of Texas Chainsaw filming the walking, like the character with the
Cal.
cow head.
Yeah.
And I'm literally like moving, but I'm filming, and they're like, keep moving. I'm like, I can't move any further than the person in front of me. Like, I'm not standing here just filming for no reason, but Like
Yeah.
I'm moving and filming.
Right.
So yeah.
That's the because that's what it is. Of it's like the idea that people are going to stop in the houses, but like people forget that people do that anyway. Like people will stop when there's no cameras and will stop. Like I've had that experience before. I've been walking behind someone who will stop and wait for the scares, and it's like scare actors know that, so they're not going to come out if you do that. Like for the most part.
And the only thing I can think, it the only thing relating to pacing is is Hollywood and Florida guests are totally different. And
true.
I've experienced this multiple times of Hollywood, you have characters that roam, whether it's Disneyland or Universal. You can just be sitting there eating lunch and there's Frankenstein walking by. There's no crowds. There's no people like, hey, everyone line up. They don't even have an assistant standing there with them. They're just walking
they're
around.
like they're like farther away. They're like if they are there because they have to have some kind of assistant, they'll be like a couple 100 feet away.
Yeah, you don't notice it. Like Orlando, you can't have characters just roam.
Yeah.
It's literally they walk out and there's already a line for a meet and greet. Disneyland, we were just walking around there and it's just like, oh, there's Captain Hook just walking around like just chilling.
Yeah.
So maybe they're thinking the Orlando crowd is a lot younger. Maybe it's a lot of teenagers. They don't want them coming in the house acting up and TikToking and just doing just stupid stuff like just because we already know they were doing TikTok things in the streets where they would just stand there or like pause or just like stare at the character, and the characters were really they were really mad about a lot of this stuff behind the scenes. But
oh man,
maybe they're just thinking like, oh, we're just not gonna have that stuff in our park.
yeah, I think it's a lot of like they don't want the liability of anything. They don't want to have to deal with the thing. But yeah, I agree, Albert. Like the idea of like being able to watch, live stream or watch like
those get me through so many like October, November nights where there's so many live streamers that'll do. One guy I watched, I don't even know how he did it. He like literally got in his car, went to a haunt way out, like kept live streaming the whole time, got back in the car, drove to like Horror Nights, and then kept the live stream going for like 3
insane.
or 4 hours. So those live streams, I just love to put them on in the background.
Yeah, that's fun. And that's like the thing is that I noticed too, and I don't think this has a factor that that will restrict them necessarily, but it is a factor that you have to consider. Content creation game is completely different out there than it is out here. Yeah. Where we have so many, and this is me, this is Chris, this is folks like Dylan. We are creating for a event that has so many people filming and trying to do videos. It's like when you try, when you have people that are all fighting to get footage, it's going to be different game than in West Coast where I feel like it's not as many folks. It's, it's obviously your big West Coasters, but then you got folks like TLEV and Exploring Attractions and Rob and everybody who's in here, Hotline, folks that were in this chat before. Like those are, your people who are going to haunts and doing the SoCal haunts. It's not as many as I feel like here, where especially with Horror Nights, there's so many people trying to cover this event. It's frustrating from our perspective of like, yeah, of course we want the access to film the houses, but like, I get it, and also like, I know for me, I joke about wanting to see it all the time and film it, but like, I also kind of like not having that pressure to be like, I'm just gonna go and enjoy it, man. I'm just gonna go and enjoy the house, and I don't have to worry about I need to get this shot or I need to get this angle, because like that would stress me out. Like if that's because I know it would be every single time I go do it, because I have this thing where I can't turn it off. Creator brain, if you've ever tried doing videos or photography, anything art, if you're involved in any of that, you have that brain of like you can't turn it off. You're always thinking about how you're gonna do these things. So like, it allows you to enjoy the event, but
that's an interesting one. So he was
Yeah.
stating, would Vegas be the place to bring out characters that don't have the full concept? And that Bloody Mary, please, please, Horror Nights, please buy the rights, do whatever you gotta do, bring her back.
That would get you to be there opening. You'd be there opening.
Oh man,
Opening
Ooh.
night. If it Bloody Mary, if they brought her back, you would have to be there opening night for that.
But yeah, I could see them doing like my idea is like they would probably do like throw in Eddie, throw in extra characters once this thing is successful, or if it is successful going forward, they're going to have to keep obviously elevating it and doing things bigger. So that's where those multiple characters come into place. Maybe you do future icons, you bring back older ones, you bring back a mix. So, or you could just have them roaming around and it's not a thing that's advertised. Like where they just might say like, you may see, shadowy figures from the past, and it might be a surprise that you're just in there and you're like, whoa, there's Oddfellow like walking around.
That reminds me of, I want to say it was that zone they did in 2009 before the anniversary year, where it was just like, I think it was Sting Alley, and it was just characters, like all the icons kind of hanging out. And it was kind of like wasn't that like a last minute, like at the end of the event, they kind of threw that out there. And it was kind of like that, where it wasn't like here's a big scare zone that we're going to announce. It's kind of just like, here's the characters, like here they are. You can get excited for the next thing. But like, yeah, and I think it would be good to throw some of the Hollywood characters. Bring out, like I said, bring out La Llorona, bring out Muerte, bring the crows out.
Yes,
bring out, have them walking around, have have your different characters, or give us some new characters that we haven't seen before. Some new icons. Who owns the warehouse? Is it that a Legendary Truth thing? Is that somebody else? Is it Lady Luck? Is it like that's something that could be expanded, because obviously with Horror Nights, everything has to be a story. It can't just be it's here because it's here. That's not what Horror Nights is. That next level. So I hope we get, maybe if it's like, whether it's a phone game. Keep Megan out of Vegas. Hey, you know what? If she ain't going to Vegas, my friend, she's going to come to Orlando and Hollywood. Just saying.
Yeah.
It's only a matter
like
of time,
Megan.
bro. It's only a matter of time, bro. Because, we already had the one doll. Gotta have the other one. That's why I'm shocked. Like, that would have been a very easy one to throw in Vegas. But anyway. Neither here nor there.
Yeah, that's the hard part. It's every Orlando video is, well, we're going into house blah blah blah. I'll talk to you guys afterwards. And in Hollywood, it's like, no, I'm gonna take
Here
you
it
guys
is.
inside. What? Yeah,
Yeah.
here's the house. Whoa, didn't this cool? Wow, didn't you see that?
So my thing, and this is my question to you, Chris, as well as anybody in the chat, if they have strong opinions on this. When somebody is doing a video walkthrough of a house, are you more interested, like, because there are people that will talk the whole time. There'll be people who will narrate and be like, oh my god, look, it's Slimer. Oh my god, look, it's this, that, and the third. Oh wow, that's a great scare. Like, or would you rather just see the house play out and then afterwards have the sort of breakdown of like, oh man, I really like this. You kind of can see it as it's happening. Because for me, like, I like putting videos on in the background, like old HHN videos. I'll watch, all the vloggers do their videos, or like if it's like Attraction 360 POVs or whatever, just so I can, feel it, right? But like if somebody starts talking during the walkthrough, then it throws me out of it. Like, and I'm like, okay, I want to hear the sounds of the house or the maze. I don't want to necessarily, although some people might have a different perspective, and that's okay. I was just curious.
That's an interesting one. So, in past, like long before the channel was a thing here, I used to watch a lot of haunted house POVs, like lots of old stuff, way old footage, like probably theme park review videos and stuff. And a lot of those were just walkthroughs. It's just simple, quiet walkthrough. Here's the house. Those I enjoyed then, but now I think like my taste evolved into content creation, and I'm used to hearing whoever I'm watching. So if I'm watching TLEV, I'm used to hearing Mr. E get excited, or
Yeah.
his commentary, or like whoa, or this and that. So it adds to the value of the watching the walkthrough or the maze experience. But I can see the other side too, because if you want to like watch the POV, there's plenty of, obviously Attractions 360 and plenty of other ones out there that just do, here's the walkthrough. We're not going to commentate at all. So
Nope.
you kind of get the best of both, but
Yeah. Yeah, I think if it's like with this comment here, like I like when you see someone that go okay, we're gonna go into Ghostbusters, and it'll just be the walkthrough of Ghostbusters, and then maybe you have some reactions, right? Like I know Chris, if your videos, you'll hear like the variety of words you use. That's funny to me, but it's also like I also know you, so like that's funny because I'm putting myself there, like,
yeah.
and in the
Like,
videos
you
that I
can-
have been there with you, then it's funny to watch them be like, oh yeah, I remember that moment. But like with other channels, like if somebody's gonna start talking about the house as it's happening, like describing the story, or oh my god, here's this character, that's where I'm like, okay, it's okay if we do that afterwards, so that I could just watch the thing, because I'm always down to hear a breakdown. I'm not like someone who's like, just shut up and film the house. Like that's not my perspective. If I wanted to see that, I would just watch the silent
yeah.
POVs that are just the house. If I want to watch a vlogger's experience, I'm gonna want to see it for their experience. But that's just me. That was just a curious thing because we're talking about filming the houses and stuff like that. But yeah, if some of the houses that we want to see come this year, I can't guarantee that I will be one of those people. I might have to be one of the people that breaks it down as it's happening because I'll be freaking out. But that's that.
Oh, like
Here nor there.
if you were in the one in Hollywood.
Yeah. I'll be like, oh, like, yeah, because I like some like going back to like TLEV's video where they'll do the face cam walkthroughs, which I'm like, props to y'all, because that's very, to walk backwards in a haunted house and like film like
Yeah.
that. Anybody who does that, I'm like, props, because that is very tough. But
I'm clumsy. I
yeah, I'll
definitely
fall
will
over. I'll fall over. But yeah, I think everyone so does like genuine reaction. There's one simple like narration. The ASMR of the house, yes.
Yeah,
There's
that's true.
those POVs are how some of the lines stick in my head, and I think about some of those lines from the haunted houses, from the quotes, the sound triggers. It's how I'm able to recognize sound triggers when they'll reuse them, which is my fun party trick. That if you pull up a sound trigger, I can probably see if I can remember. Like I know Insidious had a couple. They had one that was in Insidious that they used in Chucky last year, and it was a weird like, yeah, weird sound triggers like that, because watching the videos so much,
Yeah.
just it ingrains it up here. But
I mean, Hollywood, you just look for the flashes. I mean, as soon as they hit that E prompt, you're gonna see. You're like, well, I'm gonna see that flash. I'm gonna see a black cloth. There's a character there. There's a character there.
that was the one thing about Insidious, that they had one scare here that felt like a very Hollywood scare, and it was the bride with the curtain, the bride pulling the curtain open. That was a very from like an elevated thing,
Yeah.
because Hollywood does scares like that where they'll have like somebody up on a platform and they'll pull a curtain back, or they'll jump out from behind a wall or something, and they'll like put their hands on those like metal bars they have there.
Yes.
Insidious had a ton of those. I know Exorcist had a ton of those. Ghostbusters had a few of them. So like, yeah, it's funny like looking at those scares from perspective to perspective.
And I think you did say you think the rollout that we had last year for Orlando, you feel that that might return.
Yeah.
Because that was exhausting.
I think it is because I think it's going to be cutting it so close with Epic. And I don't think I'd rather have that than have another. We wait until the end of July to have all of our
Oh my
originals
God.
revealed.
Oh,
That's so annoying. And they want to jump on it. Like, they want to have those originals announced because those are already done. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, all the houses are at this point, if they're not already locked in, they're pretty much in the process of locking them in. Originals, I assume, are pretty much all locked in. They have been for a while because of the fact that they are already building houses right now. Construction has already started, right? So we can assume that they have everything ready. So, like, why not announce those houses early, get people hyped, get people excited?
did we have the first preview merch last year when Mardi Gras was going on? Mm-hmm. Okay.
The infamous orange T-shirt came out during Mardi Gras season. It was the orange shirt came out, and then we had the this design. I don't know how to describe this, but I have the sign. This design that was on a shirt.
My sign is
Your sign's back
somewhere
there.
back there. Yeah. it's
All
back
my
there.
HHN stuff is above my desk. But that sign we had on the shirt. Yeah, Chucky's up here too. I finally got the bucket.
By the way, if you are in Orlando, it was at the Brown Derby.
It was for a grand total of, I think, a day. Because after that,
Wow, it sold out.
there was only a few of them. There were only, I want to say, under 10 of them there. And I assume that's something they had, and it was like, we have 50 of these, and then
we
once
found
they're
a
gone, they're
box
gone.
with some of these in the back.
Because I remember they also had I remember they put out Ghostbusters lanyards, because they had those too, not too long ago. So it was like things that they just found a bag of them.
Yeah.
Because those lanyards come in bundled, like they come in so many, like they come in boxes of 100 of them. So if you find a box, you're like, oh yeah, it's like 100 lanyards right there. But yeah, so that shirt they put out was Slaughter Cinema, and then that was kind of like the originals shirt, right? Originals design shirt. And then it wasn't no merch until Quiet Place. So
Wow.
and then it was after that, of course, Ghostbusters and Insidious, and then the rest.
Mardi Gras only goes on for the next month. That's it.
The end of March. So I would assume it's either going to be at the end of next month or it's going to be the first week in April. I don't think they're going to push it beyond that.
Yeah.
So
Vanessa says, "Do we know the capacity of the building?"
it's 100. It's
We
100.
know the size. Yeah.
square foot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 100. I don't know if it's 100 or 110 because on the press release it said 100, but then the other one said 110. I mean, it's not that big of a difference.
give or take.
Yeah, give or take. Which, I mean, the sound stages I believe are about 16 per sound stage.
Wow.
So that gives you
Wow.
some perspective.
Will he
Yes.
finally be able to meet Little Boo?
No.
No.
I think it'll just be merch.
It's just
I
gonna
think
be.
I think Lil Boo is going to be like with Earl the Squirrel got lucky with a meet and greet, but I think Lil Boo's going to be like those little characters where it's just merch. But I do think, I mean, the artists who did Little Boo merch last year confirmed that they're working on more Lil Boo merch for this year, whether it's for Horror Nights or for Horror Unleashed. New Boo stuff is coming. So I don't know if it's gonna be for. I'm fucking tired of it. I can't. Sorry, y'all. I didn't mean to drop one, but I'm so tired of it. I'm like, I'm so done. I'm so done with Lil Boo.
You gotta get ready, man. Little Boo's Halloween adventure.
Well, like that's
in Texas. You
That's
gotta
cute
go.
though. That's cute. That's cute. Or like Lil Boo's Halloween fun at Islands of Adventure or Epic Universe or
But
something
not
like that. That's
during
cute.
Halloween horror nights.
Like not even that. It's to the point where there's so much stuff I think you could make merch for that Lil Boo is just like, it's a thing that I feel like it's gone so far out of range, but I see so many people when I go in the stores that are like, oh, how cute, and that's it. That's how you sell it. Oh, this is a cute little bag or cute little T-shirt or something.
We gotta have
It's-
this pillow that's in the shape of Little Boo.
And I'm not even gonna lie and say that like I don't have Little Boo merch. Like I literally have a cup right here, but it's like beyond a point that I'm like I'm not gonna go out of my way. That cup was also a Brown Derby purchase, by the way. It was
Yeah.
like $4, so I was like whatever. But like, yeah, like Little Boo for me is just like I don't know. I'm very mixed about it, but I'm kind of tired of seeing because there's only so much you can do with it. It's not like, like it's not like the icons where you can have a different one or you can do different,
Yeah.
or even like
You
studio
can evolve
screamers.
them.
Yeah, studio screamers. You can have different characters. Classic monsters. You can do different ones each time, at least for a little while. But for Lil Boo, even with Chucky, where like Chucky, they have different versions of Chucky. You have the good guys Chucky, you have Chucky Child's Play 2, you have Bride of Chucky, you have the
Yeah.
new version. So like you don't like that's why I liked the new popcorn bucket. That's the one that I got. But yeah, exactly. My daughter's 12 and see, that's what it is though. It's that I'm like I know I'm in the minority of people that are tired of it. So like I don't mind that it's out there. I think it's a good option for people, but I don't want that to be everything that they do. Which it's not, but I'm saying like last year they had a lot of it. They had a lot of Lil Boo stuff last year, and a lot of it didn't sell.
And speaking of, while we're on Vegas for a second, Chucky. Why no Chucky?
Well, where's Chucky
This is
at?
very strange.
Also, I don't hate Lil Boo. I know there's people that there are people that that are getting in here going, you hate Lil Boo. You're not supposed like. I don't hate Lil Boo, y'all. I like the little characters. I think they're funny. But you know what? That's, Uh-oh.
Well,
Welcome
there
to
you
Those Taste
go.
Travels. Fireworks are testing at Epic Universe.
Oh, nice. So, could be fireworks for opening. Could be fireworks for nighttime show. They haven't really said anything yet, right? I assume they never said like a nighttime water show or
They've-
fireworks or something.
They've teased that they're gonna do a nighttime show with the little water
water
thing there with the fountain, but we don't actually know. There's no confirmed pieces. I do not hate Lil Boo.
The way you feel about Little Boo is the way I feel about monsters.
And that's the way most
Overdone,
people.
overused.
That's the way most people feel about Chucky. So like that's my
Yeah,
thing
that's
is
true,
that
yeah.
I love Chucky. I'm a Chucky guy. We're Chucky guys.
I loved Chucky in Hollywood. It was top notch.
I
If they
just-
could have brought that to Vegas.
Oh.
I would have loved for you to experience that
Yeah,
one.
that would have been top of the
versus
hype
ours.
list. That would have been top of the hype list. I don't care about nothing else that's in there.
Oh,
Yup.
because they could have did Chucky's Emporium.
That too.
He could
But
have been like on the stage talking to you like,
they won't do that anymore.
oh, not in Vegas.
We saw in Hollywood that they didn't even go as far to do they did the late night show and it was all scripted.
Yeah, but it's Vegas, man. You gotta,
Oh,
it's
I want to see
It's
it.
adult
I want to see it.
town. It's adult entertainment.
I want to see Chucky. I would love to see them do like, I thought the golden thing they did was when they did the zone and they had him in there doing that, essentially
yes.
that thing. That was perfect. I think that was the peak where it was like, it was just enough to be edgy and funny, but it wasn't like too offensive to where
Yeah.
people are going to be like, oh, this sucks. I'm not going to have a good time with this. This is teetering. But yeah, I guess I'm the number one Lil Boo hater. Number one Lil Boo hater in
Chucky,
the
yeah.
in the chat. Yeah. Why no Chucky? Did you see Late Night with Chucky? Exactly.
I did see it.
I think that's why people are like, yeah, exactly.
I saw it.
You saw it, and
I mean, if it was Orlando and they did Late Night with Chucky in horror makeup, because that show, I think it could have easily fitted right into there.
yeah.
Because it's already, you got the same setup. You did talk show. Chucky's
He's just on a
stage.
desk. He's just
Yeah.
on a desk. That's all it is.
I think it could have worked. I would have actually probably enjoyed it, especially those nights where you get to a point of like, well, I can't do these houses. All these houses in the back or the New York area are just too ridiculous. Hey, I'll go catch a show. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think I would have enjoyed it.
Do like, and I think it would be fun if you have, and I don't know if they did this with Chucky, but I think they should have with the DreamWorks Theater because of how kind of much of a flex space it is. Have him like trash the horror makeup lobby, like theme it to be like, have him like poke fun, like draw little mustaches on the glass
Oh,
cases
yeah.
or something like stupid like that. Like very much like in the spirit of Chucky. Maybe put like some of the Chucky, like, you know, they have a Chucky doll in there, so like, you know, have it be something like that. I think that would have been kind of a fun way to then do it to where it's a full
Yeah.
experience.
Or you could
And
have
then
had even take that Chucky doll out to make it seem like
like he's running around.
he got out. Yeah.
Yeah. And like also, you know, it justifies you actually making Chucky merch every year because last year for us it was like, why do we have this? We don't have any Chucky at the event. Now Hollywood makes sense because they had Chucky at the event. Because they also had the bar too, which I would like that. I would have liked to seen something like that too, like you know, Chucky's dive bar. I think it was Chucky's dive bar or something like
Die
that.
bar, yeah.
Yeah, which, you know, I don't know. I'm down for Chucky at the event. I know people aren't. I know people will be very upset about it. I don't. That's one that I don't care. Yeah, yeah. Which is like you can find plenty of those. You can find plenty of those. Be like, are you puppeteer trained? No. Okay, we can get you puppeteer trained. Man. Yeah. I'm excited. Vegas looks good, you know. Curious about what's going to be on opening and how it's going to go, but you know, want to see. But HHN should be I'm hoping it's good this year because I'm hoping it's not too held back because of Vegas,
Yeah.
which I don't think it will because of the fact that the teams aren't working on it from my understanding either. Like both Hollywood and Orlando is not like the main people are not working on Vegas. So, yeah,
That should be good.
I think
It'll be
looks good.
interesting nonetheless,
Definitely. Definitely.
especially to see how this evolves from where we are now to next year when we're like thinking of like, man, they got to redo some of this stuff better, or we're like, wow, they knocked that out of the park. Like, I can't wait to see what they're going to do next.
Yeah, that's I think what it's gonna come down to is it's gonna. I think it's either gonna be it's gonna have trouble getting off the ground, or it's gonna be such a weird new thing that it's gonna be like, wow, I kind of want to like experience this. Essentially, what is a small HHN park, a very small, like a scream park as they describe it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it should be good. Are we all in the chat? Are we looking at going? Is anybody like already booked tickets or planning on it for the next year?
Especially
that can be-
the folks who are on the West Coast, I imagine
Yeah.
it's more of a simpler travel for you guys.
Yeah, I think it could be a
'Cause
kind of good note to end off on.
I started looking up tickets and I was like, man, even if I thought of going opening weekend, I'm like, tickets are like 200 and something just to get there, 200 and something to fly back. Then the hotel, I forgot. So something near that area, you're looking at maybe 80, 100 and something for a night. Then the tickets to Unleash, then the food.
That's what I think it comes down to. As I think a lot of people will be waiting until that something big comes, like something that's exclusive, which makes sense because like this lineup for me wouldn't pull me out if I wasn't already interested in going. I'm here for the ride, baby. I'm a Horror Nights fan, so like I gotta be here for this. Like even if not my favorite lineup, couple houses that I'm really excited to see. Couple of them I'm very curious to see. Next a regular HHN, that's fair. That's fair. I'm definitely Orlando sticking, but trying to do Hollywood and Horror Unleashed. But if not, just Orlando for me this year. Maybe next year, if not this year.
No, if they had announced this to be earlier, like way earlier, maybe I would have maybe been like, could I swing like a day trip, like 2 days max, kind of
Two
type of
days.
thing?
I feel like 2 days would
But
have to be it to get to and from Vegas.
this, yeah, it's too close to our Horror Nights opening, and it's already expensive. Between that, then you tack on Hollywood trip, and that's extra costing. Is just too much to dump on one time of everything. So no, I will not be there unless Horror Nights. Hello, if you're watching this and you want to send me a good old media invite or something,
Want to send
fly
me a
out
fly
there.
out? Yeah,
Yeah. Then no, yeah. It would just be tacked on to the California trip. That way, it's just two birds, one stone. If you're already kind of on the West Coast, it would make sense that way. It's just too. I don't make enough off of YouTube to fund that type of trip. I would be in the red, as they say, or the negative. I'd be at the gambling station trying to win my money back. Like, please, I need to pay for my trip back.
Have to do Darkest Deal sale to pay for that trip.
Well, Dreamport did say he believes it won't be a actual full tribute store like what we normally have in Orlando.
Yeah.
More so like an open store, like a yeah.
Yeah. I think it'll be themed, but I don't know if it'll be a tribute store that has like its own story or because again, it's not the same teams that are working. I think it'll be like a themed store, but I don't know if it's going to be a tribute store. I think it'll be, like I said, more along the lines with like an All Hallows Eve kind of situation where it's like maybe one kind of store spot and then that. Yeah, either or makes sense totally. HHN is the bigger event. This is the bite-sized version. If you're going to pick one, I'm going to suggest picking HHN any day of the week, unless you are, again, near Vegas. You're in the West Coast. Not as hard for you to get out there if you want to see it, if you're curious. But I'm saying if you have to pick, I'd say hang tight for HHN. Get a frequent fear if you're someone who lives nearby.
Unless you did not experience these four mazes ever before, and you're like,
And you
man,
want
I'm
to.
a fan of Leatherface and like Exorcist. I've never done that.
Oh, man, I really want to
Then
see
it might
Scarecrow.
be because, yeah, none of these are going to be at Orlando or Hollywood this year. So
No.
if you never experienced, I would say maybe it might be worth a plan. But
Yeah, that's why I don't think Monsters is coming this year for HHN, because I think they're going to focus on it in Vegas.
probably because I know a lot of them receive something for Vegas, which was the hat and the pin.
The box.
Yeah, the box. So probably those creators will probably get invited. But then, yeah, I don't know who's running the media. It's not Orlando who's running it. Is it its own thing? So
Yeah.
maybe I'll reach out.
Reach
see.
out and say, hey.
I'll reach out and see.
Yeah. Because I'm curious to see, like I said, if they're going to try to focus on, because with Horror Nights Media, we see a lot of, Disney creators, other theme park creators. With this, I wonder if it's going to be more horror creators, like horror, like, I'm thinking of bigger sites like your Bloody Disgustings and stuff like that. They do get invited to these type of events, but also your other like horror-esque or movie-esque creators that are not necessarily just doing Universal Park stuff. That are doing something else.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Totally. I feel like we're so far away from that I'm like, I don't even have any thoughts on it. I wouldn't be shocked if this is a test for that though. If they're looking at Horror Unleashed as a potential, because Horror Unleashed,
they do want to do this whole Universal, what's it called, Destinations and Experiences. And we know when it comes to Universal, they're not just a one setup shop thing. Like this is something they're looking to probably expand to multiple cities, or at least areas. Not like there's going to be one in every city, but like ones that make sense.
Major cities and major, yeah, 100%. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think Orlando's going to see one. I don't think Hollywood's going to see one. I could see, like, maybe like a, New York or like
That's what I
Chicago
was
or
thinking.
like
Yeah.
Northeast somewhere. Maybe in Texas because they are going to have Frisco. That's the kids' park. Maybe they put something near there for the adults, in like in that sort of area, like down there. Or maybe they go up, in the Northeast as well, or Northwest. Sorry, Northeast, Northwest. See, we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. But UK, if it, I know a lot of people want it, which I'm sure they see the demand. I know it's been on and off. If it's happening, they haven't said anything, but the government has said they bought the land, so we don't know. We don't know what the specifics are with that, but yeah, I think it's smart. I think it's a good place for Universal to be. Although it's going to be another Epic Universe situation where we're going to see those budgets cut. So get ready. Get ready because they got to pay for that somehow.
I'm begging one for.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I wouldn't be shocked if they did that sort of experience over there to kind of be a compliment to the kid resort.
Yeah. I never would have thought years and years ago when we were not even like Epic was announced. I never would have guessed a brand new like whole theme park in Orlando, one in Texas, Vegas Horror Nights
At the same
year-round
time.
experience. Like this, it's crazy times that we're living in.
At the same time opening within a couple years of each other.
Wow.
Literally
Yeah.
two of them opening in the same year, and then
Wow.
Frisco opening. My guess is going to be 2027 when that one opens. Based on the way it's moving.
Crazy.
And then that's not even Fast and Furious is opening next year. We have Rocket is closing.
That's right. Yeah. You would get to at least see it. You would at least get to see the construction if you went to Hollywood this year.
Yeah, I
Which
like
is-
when I
it's
went.
crazy.
When I went, they were just starting. Like they were just starting to clear the land. So that's crazy. Now that I went to Hollywood a year ago, and in that time, they've not only built the show building, they've themed the show building. They've had the track, and the track is fully formed over the escalators in a year's time. That's crazy to me.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to ask us?
Yeah. Any final questions, final thoughts, opinions before we end it off?
Are any of you all planning for Epic? Are you going to
Yeah.
Epic?
I feel like we got to do another stream for Epic later on.
It opens in
Oh, okay.
May 2026.
Is that
Wow.
I didn't know that was confirmed. Either way, it makes sense. It does feel like it is going to open in that kind of. I don't know if you're talking about Hollywood, because I know if you're talking about Hollywood Drift, or you're talking about the kids park. But either way, sick. That's fun. Cool. I will not be going to that one. I'm not going to go by myself with no kids. It's cool. If I had relatives that were children, kids of my own, then it would be different. But I don't have either,
Yep.
so
Yeah.
no reason to do that. But it's cool to see.
Yeah, we'll have to probably do this again. More so, maybe closer to Epic.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe once we've experienced it, we can just talk all over everything that
Yeah.
we loved, we
Yeah.
hated.
I definitely want to do, whether it's here or on my channel, a hype stream for Epic, like a build, like hype list, talking about hype list, talking about all the attractions. When are we all going to the park, Dylan? I don't know, Dylan. When are you going to the park? I have to see if I can get a ticket. We gotta go to
Aw.
that's the thing with Epic, is like with that you gotta coordinate, because obviously it's only single tickets available, but Friday
Oh,
day after
wow.
opening.
Wow. Yeah.
Booked. I know Desiree said we just booked a trip to HHN and Epic. It's awesome.
Nice. Boy, that is a way to have a great trip. Wow. Epic and Horror Nights. That's wow. You're in for a treat.
That's really, yeah. That's like, I feel like that's the time to come though. I know a lot of people are saying like, let's go right when it opens, but I know if I was a didn't live here and I was like I have one trip for Florida for the year, yeah, I'm gonna save it for Horror Nights so I can go to Horror Nights, experience Horror Nights. Obviously, if I'm gonna go to Islands, experience whatever's happening at Island, experience the attractions that I know and love, and then Epic, a brand new theme
Yeah.
park that's just opening, with all kinds of new attractions and stuff.
I will be there opening. Yes, opening.
Okay.
And I believe opening on the day after. So that will be my trips. I can't say if there's any more. Maybe in the future.
We have to
If
have
it
to see
dips.
this horror
Yeah.
unleashed in Hollywood business is
Yeah, that's
Horror Unleashed is,
definitely that's about as much as my ticket was going to be for
yeah,
Epic.
yeah, pretty much. It's the same price. So think about that.
Yeah,
A
wow.
price ticket for Horror Unleashed is the same price on most like a regular day to Epic Universe, not like a
That's
peak day.
crazy.
It's gonna be that same $150 number. So keep that in mind. Have your opinions on that, but it's fun. Even though the filming thing is not fun, it's a fun event. It's obviously always gonna vouch for that. Also, yes, all the tips.
Oh yeah, we definitely. Well, we'll try as much as we can within our short limit of going. I know. For me, it's going to be one of those things where I've gone, I've experienced, and then it's going to be like a couple months later, and I'm going to be like, man, I really want to go to Epic. How much is the ticket?
It'd be like that's my thing with that. I'm like, for me, the fact that would have to buy a ticket allows me, I think, to take in the park more and like fully appreciate it rather
Yeah.
than like I could just go with my pass and roll up and do whatever. It makes it feel more special when you have that. I mean, obviously it's more expensive, right? But like if you're having to buy that ticket from someone who is a pass holder or has access to the parks regularly and has for a while, having that is gonna be it. Also, Wolfman 2025. I did not see it. I remember seeing.
Oh, you got to
but-
see
See,
someone.
I saw him at Horror Nights, but I did not see the movie yet. I haven't been to the movies this year yet. The last movie I saw in the movie theater was Nosferatu, which was wonderful. Please make that a house at some point. But yeah, but
Yeah, I didn't see Wolfman.
I'll see it at some point.
Heard lots of reviews, interesting reviews about it. How they did the Wolfman, like the idea of this or around this movie.
Yeah,
And I really like the concept that they kind of went with. Same thing with the Invisible Man and how that concept was really different and modern in a way.
yeah.
So it'll be interesting to watch it. Hopefully it'll be on Peacock at some point.
That's a weird one because I feel like movies have such a short window in theaters now, but I'm sure eventually it'll be on Peacock. I mean, it was Universal put out, so I'm sure it'll be there soon. Because Nosferatu's coming on Peacock in the next couple weeks. I think it's already on
Oh
Blu-ray.
yeah,
so,
yeah. That and Wicked, I think, are coming
Wicked's
to
coming
Peacock
up.
very soon.
yeah. Wait on Epic until tickets are more than one day. That's valid. That's valid. I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but that
How
is
would they
valid.
do that? It would just be like a 2-day. Oh, like instead of having to buy each,
Yeah,
like a ticket
because
for each one day.
because for pass holders they have the single day ticket, but then also if you're not a pass holder, you can buy for multiple days, but those days only allow for one day at Epic. So like you can
That's
buy
so
a 4-day ticket, but you're only getting one day at Epic. You can buy a
Wow.
2-day or three. I think it's 3-day, 3, 4, and 5 days. You can buy a 3-day ticket, 1 day at Epic. 5-day ticket, 1 day at Epic. It doesn't change.
Wow.
So, but I could see them having a ticket where like, because if you buy a regular 2-day ticket, let's say
Yeah.
for Universal and Islands, you can
either get the
Just
park to park,
go
or
to
you can pick
Islands
one.
twice. Yeah.
Yeah, you can. It's a choice thing. You don't like get suckered into buying one, paying for one or the other. It's the same price for the ticket. So
Oh, okay.
I would assume that they're going to have something like that eventually. I think they really want right now it to be single tickets so that they can build it into the capacity and have their capacity measured at least for the first little while, and then we could start talking about potential pass upgrades, potential multi tickets, and things like that. But I don't think we're going to see that before next year.
No. We have to. They'll let everyone kind of just see it, just to get out of their system.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, "Oh,
Nah, okay.
you got a
we can
little
roll.
taste there. You like what you tasted? All right.
Yeah.
Come on, we got more. We got more.
Yeah. Of course.
Oh, you want to add it to your pass?
Yeah. Got to be looking at another couple $100.
Then that's when I'll be like, well, I think I'm gonna skip Vegas for a couple years.
There you go. Yeah. Hey, it is what it is. Yeah.
Any last questions?
further
Anything
questions?
you guys want
There's
to
been-
ask?
It's been fun. I just want to say that love coming on these streams. I hope it all went well network wise. I know my network has been iffy on more than one occasion. I hope it's not terrible this time. I don't feel like it has been. I like this setup that you had this time.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm
Using this new one.
just hanging out. Videos. We both have videos on Horror Unleashed. So if you want to have a more condensed version of the stream, Zombie Chris has one.
Yes.
I have one out.
Yes. So what's upcoming next for? So you just released the Horror Unleashed video. What do you have planned future-wise? Like what's in the horizon? Do you want to tease something?
So the next video, I already know. It's already midway being done editing. It's going to be my Epic Universe hype list. So if you like me talking about Epic and the specific rides of Epic, that is coming. It's going to be a non-Horror Nights video. I want to do a couple Epic videos because obviously it's a big deal. But that one's already recorded. It's already midway through, again, being done editing. I just need to finish it. It should be out in the next couple days. And then, that's really the biggest main thing that's right now.
Unless Horror Nights just drop something.
Horror Nights will.
Next
Unleashed,
week. They're gonna be like,
Unleashed did
hey,
it.
how about an announcement?
Yeah, Unleashed did it. I was literally like, I was off yesterday and today, and then yesterday I woke up and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna get that video done. I'm gonna get the epic video. It's like, oh man, it's already. I could work in a couple hours and it'll be done. And they said, nah, bitch. Here's another announcement. It's like, okay, let me do this one, and then we'll get back. Although, another thing too, Volcano Bay is having an after hours party. That's happening. That's
Volcano
a news thing.
Bay Nights.
I want to go, but because I've never been to Volcano Bay, and I feel like that would be a really cool way to experience it. But I'll have to see because I'm not going to go to that by myself. I'd have to go with
Dylan,
somebody.
if you're still here in the chat, are you going to that?
Yeah,
'Cause
Dylan, are you going
I
to-
definitely feel like I could see you going to Volcano Bay Nights, but I don't know if you have the pass with Volcano Bay on it. Because that was the big talk of a lot of people being like, I already have this on my pass. Why am I paying like over $100 to go to Volcano Bay? Like, it's not worth it if you already have it on the pass.
Pass holders get $10 off. So if you're a pass holder and you're going to buy it, call.
Oh,
you're
see, there
going,
you go.
Dylan?
Yes, sir.
All right. What? Let me know what day you're going, Dylan. I might go. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna go because I want to go and experience it, but also like as a new timer, I also don't want to like go, going for the first time. Drop VB this year. I've never, like I said, I've never had it on my pass. I've never been. This year, I'm going to go, whether it's Volcano Bay Nights or whether it's whatever. I'm going to Volcano Bay at some point this year. I've been wanting to go, and I'm like, oh, we'll be there opening night. All right, but I might be there.
Nice.
We'll have to see.
All right.
I just want to see because I know they have complimentary food, some complimentary food items.
Yeah,
and they're giving
that
out
was the
some.
tricky part because
Little
in that little
asterisk.
press release, it only stated like it said something like specialty themed treats, and I was like, but that's not saying if for like Horror Nights there's specialty themed food, but you have to pay for it.
Yeah,
And then
there's a
when
couple.
you read
There's
a
two
little bit in
items.
the details, it says something like there's food that you can purchase, like special food and then there are complimentary bites or something like that.
Yeah.
Which makes me think like where they're gonna have like cookies or like some pretzels or something, and like the good stuff is the stuff you're gonna have to pay for, which
Yeah. Which, it is what it is. I think it's like, I don't know if they've revealed the items, but I don't know if it's going to be like cookie. No, so it's complimentary freestyle is there,
Yeah.
but they also have, I think, a couple complimentary little food items in addition to specialty ones that you can buy. Yeah.
yeah.
So that's that you get both. The freestyle thing, because this is Universal's version of the H2O nights, what they do at Typhoon Lagoon. They do this exact thing. They open the park late. They have low capacity access to the rides, and they also have characters running around. With that, I think they also give you what Disney's version of the Freestyle Cup, which they only have at the water parks, by the way. If you go to the water parks, you can do their it's not freestyle, but it's like essentially the same where you can, if you want to drink, like sodas or whatever, or whatever's in the machines, you can go and buy the cup, pay, whatever fee, and then you can reactivate it. It works just like the freestyle cup, but they don't do it in
we do for Horror Nights. Yeah.
Yes, they don't do the theme parks, but they do it at Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Disney does that only but for the H2O nights, I believe they do that free. They do a free one. Yeah, I'll see about that, Dylan. I'll see if anybody else wants to go. If I have anybody else who's looking to go. If not, then I'll probably just try to go because I do want to see it, especially because of the first year. I'm sure it'll be fun. And it's not too expensive to where I'm like, I don't know. It's like 80. Like I think it's like 89 before tax, whatever. So it's like 90 something, which it is a little steep when you're trying to do all this other stuff, but like for something like that, a normal ticket to Volcano Bay is going to cost that. So if you get like a fun experience of it, get to see it at night, do the rides, some free stuff, then we'll see.
Which I think would probably be the coolest part is, well, you also get to go in at 4:00, so you get to see it during the afternoon. So a little bit in the day, then you get to see it at night. And a lot of people, the main takeaway was the pass holder thing, but the other takeaway was, okay, well, they can just open the park late. Why won't they just normally just do this or do this in June? And I would have went. And the reason why, when I was looking around, because I was looking at tickets, the regular tickets, and I was like, well, yeah, Volcano Bay is a little bit cheaper if you just want to get a regular ticket. But if you go into June, July, those are the summertime. Obviously, those are the biggest times at Volcano Bay. The ticket price goes way up. So if they were to add this event during the summer, you're already paying 110, 120, I think, just to go to Volcano Bay during the summer. This event would have cost what, 130, 140? Do you think people would have paid that? Nah.
No, and it's like, why close the park during your peak season at 7:00 or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, why not do that? Like, I don't know. It's just like, it makes sense that they're doing it. It's just a short little thing. I think it's just to try it.
A test.
It's a low stakes event. That's why, it's not a horrible price event. It's not a crazy event. It's not really meant to be that. It's just meant to be like, I've never been to Volcano Bay. That's a cool way to experience it. I get to see it at night. Get to have low weights on some of the rides that I've never been on. Also, the characters, fun DreamWorks characters. Hopefully with some fun outfits that are exclusive. And then also it's like, because I've never been to H2O nights, but I know for cast members, sometimes they do Typhoon Lagoon parties, and I've gone to those every year because I have relatives who are cast members. And that experience of Typhoon Lagoon is a really fun experience. So like if I can get that with Volcano Bay, I'd be like, yeah, that's I think a good way. Because like Volcano Bay, if you want to go in those times, it's going to get busy. So if this is a way to experience it that it's not super busy, then it's like, yeah.
So that made me thought too. Okay, so Studios has, obviously it's marquee events. You have Mardi Gras, holidays, you have Horror Nights, which is a paid event. Now we have Volcano Bay Nights. Islands?
Yeah, where's that
If they
at?
were to do something at Islands, would you be interested in that? like a after hours, because it's we rarely get to see islands in the dark or at
Probably not.
night.
I
Very rare. But they brought out characters. I don't know what else they could do. Maybe a lagoon show, something like really cool.
For me, it's just the fact that I don't love the rides at Islands of Adventure. I like a few of them. Spider-Man, Forbidden Journey, Hagrid's. Those are the rides that I'm going to go out of my way to ride at an event like that. But like, and you could totally market it as like, this is the way to ride Hagrid's after dark, because really that's the
Yeah.
way to do. That's what sells Orlando Informer events, that and
Yeah.
food. So it's like, I think an Islands night would have been cool. They did it for like pass holder night. It's kind of like what that kind of reminds me of. Although that was free, that was a different thing. But like, yeah, I'm not sure if I would be going to that one just because I do have access to Islands of Adventure. I can go whenever, and I'm not like, it's like I said, those events are great if it's like you don't really ever go to the parks or you want to get that exclusive experience. But if you're someone who goes all the time, unless you're there to make content for it, it's not really like that. Yeah, so yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Private events every week, I feel like. Thanks, Coconut Club. Shut down every day for a private event.
Yeah. Either that's shut down or you're like, oh man, I love studios at night. Oh,
Nope, no, you don't. You like studios at 6 p.m. the latest, and then you got to go home. Well, you don't have to go home, but you can't be here.
go to City Walk.
Go to City Walk. Yep. Oh wait, you can't go to Coconut Club, so don't even try to go up there. So just leave. Just go back to your hotel and go back home.
Yep.
Yep. All right. I think it's a good place to end it off.
That is a full
Nice little negative note. Nice little negative sassy note to end off the stream.
Thank you, Dreamport, for hopping on here and dissecting Vegas.
Thank you for having me. Of course, always a pleasure.
Yes, you can catch Dreamport Productions on YouTube. Released the Horror Unleashed video, so you can check that out. Yeah, that's. I think that's it.
Yep, stuff coming in the future for both of us. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Yep. I don't know what you're trying to do. Do an outro.
Bye bye, everybody. Peace out.
I didn't know if it was gonna do that. Like what your plan was for ending that, but.